Hello YouTube! Since Power Rangers Hyperforce is running and is an anniversary season, let's go back to the past and let's fantasize to see what could have happened if we changed the past. So welcome to how to fix Megaforce and Super Megaforce. Here's what Sabank should have done. Just translate the entire Go character script to English, swap up the pre-G Ranger stuff with actual Power Ranger characters and stuff. Thanks for watching this video, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. See you next time. Just kidding. For this exercise, I'll be writing what the pilot of Megaforce should have been. So let's begin off with the episode Face on the Wall. The episode starts off with a few alien ships entering Earth. We are introduced to humanoid aliens from different planets: Troy, Emma, Gia, and Jake. Through exposition, these four are here to find powers of the rumored morphing grid that is located on Earth to restore their destroyed home planets devastated by the evil Armada Empire. They arrive to the city Angel Falls, a painfully obviously nod to Angel Groves and the demons from Lightspeed Rescue. Meanwhile, in space, the Armada Empire had sent their research and development unit called Warstar to test their weapons on Earth, thus explaining the Monster of the Week scenario. They were never here to conquer but treat Earth as a weapons test site. Analogy would be flexing the muscles against rebellious colonies, and the monsters are basically military scientists, intelligent geniuses but not true warriors. The Empire is made out of three factions: demonic insectoids, not to Lightspeed Rescue and Lost Galaxy, mute orgs of darkness, not to Mystic Force, Time Force, and Wild Force, and Fearbots, not to Zeo, RPM, and Overdrive. Demonic insectoids are under the leadership of Admiral Malcor, a butterfly-looking creature. Mute orgs of darkness are under the leadership of General Biggs and Bluefur, who looks like a ball of pink slime, and Bigfoot. Fearbots are under the leadership of Commander Metal Alice, a robot. These villains of the season are comedic in a way they often bicker with each other and make fun of each other's gimmicks. These three are under the leadership of Crown Prince Vrak. Vrak is stoic and noble but evil. He is there to restore his empire's image across the galaxy. Back to the humanoid visitors here for ultimate power. They were prejudiced against each other, having rivalry. It wasn't until long they discovered a cave that is the entrance of the morphing grid, and they met Gosei. Gosei is the guardian of the morphing grid and sensed a disturbance of incoming evil empire. Gosei also have a technician called Noah who acted like Billy during Zeo. He was cryogenically frozen for a long period of time until the invaders arrived. He is very warm and kind to the team, as if he knew them for a long time, but Gosei cut him off before he could try and bond with the visitors. The humanoid aliens asked for Gosei to give them power to restore their planets. Gosei said the humanoid aliens are not strong enough to wield the morphing grid's powers, and they need to adapt and adjust to it. In order to do that, the aliens will be required to go through some training through becoming the new team of Megaforce Power Rangers to protect the Earth. Till then, the morphing grid will be able to grant them ultimate power. Gosei is just an energy being trapped inside a tiki hat, and he is only able to transfer powers, unable to use it to its full potential. Gosei gave these visitors a choice, not forcing them to become Power Rangers. The humanoids found it ridiculous since they are not interested in fighting the Armada to restore their homeworld. They decided to leave. Noah was surprised. He did not expect them to. On their way out to the city, they saw Earthlings attacked by the Warstar foot soldiers. They realized Earth will become like their homeworld, destroyed and forgotten. These humanoids found the will to fight against the Armada, not for power, but for justice and sympathy to the humans. They fought the Warstar forces unmorphed but were no match. When Gosei oversaw this, he sent Noah to Panmorphers for the Rangers to fight against the monsters just in time. The visitors and Noah morphed into Megaforce. The five defeated the Monster of the Week and its forces. That defeat shocked the Warstar Empire and rippled across the galaxy that somebody stood up successfully against the prestigious and feared Warstar Research and Development Unit. The Rangers later return to Gosei's command cave and decide to become defenders of the Earth, maybe in exchange in the future to restore their homeworld. So here are some of the characteristics. Troy is a bit robotic and motionless, kind of like a hard-boiled warrior. It was also established he is a swordsman. He was part of the Armada until he turned against direct command when ordered to execute a group of innocent people, including children. He thought the Armada was to bring peace and justice to the galaxy, not to bring chaos and destruction. Realizing he was wrong, he turned against the Empire. Gia is filled with ambition and obsessed with power. She is also impatient. She was raised in poverty during the Armada invasion of her homeworld, a burglar and a thief. Robin Hood-like figures stole from the Armada to feed the poor and oppressed. Noah started off working with Gosei a long time ago. He's technically the alpha/Billy Ranger of the group. Stoic and well-trained, secretive. He does have his silly brainiac moments. Not a lot of character development until season 2. Jake. He's happy, easy-go-lucky. He tries to shield his pain with humor from what happened to his homeworld. And there was a lot of tension between Gia and him romantically throughout the season. Emma is weak in strength. She's also sensitive, but she's strong. She was originally a senator from a high-class homeworld, but was ripped of nobility after her world protested against the Warstar attack on a neighboring planet. The Armada responded by firebombing her world. Also, it was explained by Gosei on how the morphing grid works. The Earth these Rangers were fighting in was actually a parallel dimension to the previous Power Ranger seasons. It is also considered as the altar of this universe. Gosei safeguards this dimension's morphing grid's gateway to other Power Ranger universes. If this Earth falls, all the powers across the parallel dimension falls as well, as the morphing grid's biofuel sources originates from here. Gosei only channels it to the Megaforce Rangers. In Universe Alpha, it consists of Megaforce. In Universe Beta, it consists of Mighty Morphin, Alien Ranger, Zeo, Turbo, In Space, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed, Time Force, Wall Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, Operation Overdrive. In Universe Gamma, it consists of Jungle Fury. In Universe Delta, consists of RPM. In Universe Epsilon, consists of Samurai. In Universe Zeta, consists of Mystic Force. Megaforce are the first team of Rangers ever existed in Gosei's universe. Thus, Gosei asked for some veteran Power Rangers guidance and help the Rangers. Thus, there are guest Power Rangers invited to the dimension to evaluate and train the Rangers. Some special powers and abilities were given to the Megaforce team from veterans. The veterans will not be fighting because Gosei is not powerful enough to power up the veterans. He's only strong enough to create invisiportals for veterans to observe. Some Rangers who had used the morphing grid long enough can materialize, but rarely. Only veterans from Mighty Morphin era can. So this is the end of the two-parter introduction to Megaforce. I'm currently writing the entire 2 seasons of what Megaforce and Super Megaforce could have been for your entertainment and mine. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. More will come. Hello, this is the continuity to my version of the pilot episode, Megaforce. If you haven't watched that yet, better watch that one first. Basically, the entire series will be similar to Jungle Fury scouting out veteran Power Rangers as the Rangers' mentors. There's a robot parrot, Navi, short for Navigator, that gives a team prophecies on where to find these veteran Rangers and Ranger powers. The fans of the show will know these prophecies, but the Megaforce team have no idea what she meant. The running gag would be the Rangers often running into the Armada while finding the veteran Rangers. Take note, the veteran Ranger cameos are actually projections of Rangers from their respective dimensions. They are like ghosts in this dimension, and they could only access it because they had tapped into the morphing grid in their lives. However, the longer they were a Ranger in the past, the higher chance they could actually take up a physical form in this dimension but still can't morph. Of course, there are a few exceptions, like for example Bulk and Skull, they could actually dimension hop. That's why they appeared in Samurai. Throughout the season, Creepox has a long rivalry between Troy, like Goldar to Tommy. It builds up to the season finale. Creepox taunts Troy a lot, always pestering Troy as a heartless soldier with no soul. Troy has amnesia and it is his journey for self-discovery. He struggles with understanding his humanity, since he was once an Armada elite soldier. This led to some tension between the group while Emma, Noah, and Gosei tries to defuse it. Here's the first prophecy from Navi. The wise wolf ninja of the 3-horned beast passed the crystal to the one he deemed worthy. The first cameo from the veteran Ranger would be Billy Cranston from Mighty Morphin and Zeo in the episode Reassurance from Blue. He appears to Noah, who is having troubles in believing in himself as the technician of the team after a few failures with the Gosei Megazord at the beginning. They need some Zords. Noah blamed himself, but Gosei gave him a pep talk to trust himself and his talents. Billy also revealed his journey from zero to hero. Through Billy's inspiration, Noah was able to update the Siak brother Zords for the Megazord. They won gloriously. This was a tribute to Zeo. Billy also gave Noah blueprints to construct a powerful cannon if they ever need another upgrade in their team weapon. Before departing, Billy told the team to watch out for the Machine Empire from Zeo. He said one of the generals of King Mondo has survived, but as a radio signal code echoing through universes. His wavelength may no longer exist in Billy's original universe, but the radio signal certainly has traveled to somewhere. This is a foreshadow. In the next episode called Big Sister, A Warstar Queen Bee used mind control testing to turn the girls against each other. Noah, Jake, and Troy were also enslaved by her. Malcor said he commissioned this experiment so innocents will join the Armada and won't be harmed, but it hasn't been perfected yet. Malcor hates seeing the weak trampled by the strong, and will take in sheep to his shepherd's care. It was also exposited that Malcor basically raised and trained Vrak. Krepox also trained and raised another royalty, but was recruited by Vrak. Navi gave the next prophecy, the pterodactyl warrior who passed the crane powers to the crystal cat that drives. 2 cameos from Mighty Morphin, Kimberly Hart and Kat Hillard, appeared to help the girls to reason with each other, which broke the spell. Kimberly Hart and Kat Hillard bestowed to the Rangers the remnant of the Firebird powers, which is powerful enough to fuel Noah's new Zords, the Skyak brothers. In raw form, it is literally a firebird, incinerating enemies, but it takes time to recharge. Gosei congratulated the girls on teamwork. The girls are starting to bond after this incident. Gia and Jake's relationship began to flourish as the two started working out together. The two were trying to control the Land Brothers, a Zord produced by Noah against speeding monsters. Gia was able to mentally concentrate well, but Jake needs help in concentrating. Especially he controls most of the bottom half of the Zord. Jake is absent-minded and easily distracted. Through Gosei and Gia's help, Jake finally was able to put his mind into controlling the speeding Zords through the use of soccer, something Jake was obsessed with since he had landed on Earth. Jake also made Gia fall in love with soccer, and him too. Navi gave another prophecy, Return of the Lionheart of the Night. After hearing the prophecy, the titanium header was taken to battle by Troy after Gosei mentioned it was one of his old antique power-ups. However, it was completely inactive. Troy believes there may be still some use. Titanium header was originally part of Gosei's morpher and is a sentient new form of life. Gosei used to be a ranger, and while time traveling, he lost that morpher piece that was sent back to Earth million years ago. The morpher piece grew into its current stage after absorbing the energies of the morphing grid. Noah found it, but was unable to activate it. It is like in a coma, but filled with potential energy. After finding Metal Alice has been using part of Earth as a dumping ground for her metal soldiers, the Mega Rangers went to confront her. Malcor belittled her for killing Precious' subordinate, which is a waste to him. Only brainless circuits would do something like that. But Metal Alice condescendingly told him he knows nothing about deadweight loss. That's why bugs are so useless in swarms. Turns out, newly produced robots have individual learning computers, giving robots a free range of creativity and produce effective strategies. However, robots who grew to have compassion and mercy was to be executed by Metal Alice herself personally. Malcor received compassion as something important to expand the Empire, but since robots are not of his jurisdiction, he can't intervene. The Rangers confronted Metal Alice and Troy tried to charge the header, but dropped it in the heaps of scrap metal while fighting Metal Alice. Metal Alice retreated after seeing no point in fighting the Mega Rangers, as they are mere insects to her. The Mega Rangers were unable to locate the header. Troy apologized to Gosei, but Gosei forgives him, saying the titanium header will be found again. He has foreseen it. Meanwhile, the titanium header has received residual powers from Metal Alice and the Rangers. It combined the powers and scrap metals together, creating Proto-Titanium Knight. It has memories of Gosei and the Rangers, and the mission to protect the Earth. After destroying a bug monster of the day alongside with the Rangers, it crumbled into pieces, but the morpher stayed intact. Metal Alice, seeing there is potential in this piece, has a plan and took the titanium header. It's the only source of Gosei's power that could be used against the Rangers for now. After giving the titanium header enough metallic energy beams, Titanium Knight was created. Metal Alice finds the Mute Orgs too destructive and will gain Vrak's favor, so Titanium Knight is used as a third party to sabotage Mute Org's experiments. Titanium Knight is given a free range of creativity to think independently, and given an amoral code and neutrally lawful identity. But one of the programs that Metal Alice couldn't override would be protecting the Earth. Metal Alice also used the untapped energy within the header to create Zords. Titanium Knight's main mission is to protect the Earth, and with previous memories wiped out, he is not a robot. When the Rangers talk to Titanium Knight, he shows no interest of joining the Rangers and declared he is made out of scrap metal and AI programming of the Warstar. It has no interest in protecting humanity. Gosei told the Rangers they'll need to persuade the Titanium Knight to be by his side since this is a new life form, not something to be reprogrammed with. The header Gosei knew lives within the Knight, but is now something much more, a third party in the war between the Rangers and the Armada. Titanium Knight is only interested in defending the Earth at first, but later grew to care about humanity and wants to learn more. Similar to a child wanting to understand general basic human emotions and behavior, Gosei instructed Troy to reach out to Titanium Knight because only Troy's seriousness and composure could reach out to him. And also, Gosei knows about Troy's secret. Titanium Knight and Troy grew a close bond through sword fighting, and Titanium Knight taught Troy a special attack which Troy didn't master until much later. Strange enough, Malcor was seen protecting children during Titanium Knight's rampage on destroying an abandoned mutagen-producing facility. Navi gave another prediction: thrice tension in time, trio phytofossils, triumphant triumph. In space, the villains discussed about the new threat Titanium Knight. Malcor suggested to convert Titanium Knight to their side to turn them against the Rangers. Metal Alice was quiet throughout the discussion, because you know what she did. Vrak agrees to convert him. To Malcor's surprise, Vrak gave the Mute Orgs the mind control blueprints from Queen Bee for the Mute Orgs to perfect it, because bugs are looked down upon in this universe, and Mute Orgs experiments were most effective so far. The Mute Orgs and Metal Alice laughed in Malcor's face after Vrak left the meeting. On Earth, Jake doesn't trust Titanium Knight at all. Gosei had a talk with Jake, but he was stubborn. Gia then tried to open up Jake. We learned about the two's past. Gia grew up in a con artist background, and Jake's similar background as a street parlor. Since he was a swindler, it's hard for him to trust people. A few veterans came to speak to Gosei about helping the Megaforce Rangers. Gosei suggested Jake is the only one with enough potential to wield the powers granted by them, but his mind is not in the right place. Through the power of cameo and guidance with Eric Myers and Wesley Collins from Time Force, then later Dr. Tommy Oliver, Connor McKnight, and Trent Fernandez from Dino Thunder, which they appeared in different parts of the three-parter arc, Jake finally overlooked Titanium Knight's differences and decided to join the forces. He led the rescue of Titanium Knight when Vrak and Mute Orgs captured and tried to reprogram him. Metal Alice aided the Rangers from the shadows, so her Titanium Knight could sabotage as many Mute Org missions as possible. Seeing Jake's behavior and potential in him, the veteran Rangers decided Jake's heart and body has enough strength and righteousness to wield the power they are about to produce. The Quantum Flyer Project, which is seen in the next season. Only the blueprints of the Zords were seen. When the Zord is ready for him, the Ranger powers will call out to Jake. The reason why the other Rangers are unable to control the Zord, because Jake nearly telekinetically controls half of the Megazord. Other Rangers are unable to. Even Troy needs Noah and Emma to help him telekinetically control the top half of the Zord. Titanium Knight and Jake's personalities are very different. Titanium Knight prefers a direct approach, while Jake takes an indirect approach to solve the same goals, which may look silly and goofing off. Titanium Knight once called Jake a fool, but after listening to Gosei and seeing how Jake's methods work, his mind changed. Jake's way might be much harder, but he'd go through as much obstacles as possible in order to save people, while Titanium Knight's regards on the ends justifies the means. Titanium Knight started to see the importance of human lives, seeing how humans interact with each other and the environment. Titanium Knight sees Jake play the fool to hide the warrior's pain. At the end, the two came to each other's differences and were able to team up. When you thought the Sentai lines of toys in SH Figuarts stopped, it has been resurrected by my friend King Ranger Props. He makes all these awesome figure arts, custom costumes and props too. Please check him out. All this stuff are created by him. When I first saw these figures, I can't believe they are not created by Bandai or any of the official companies. In my humble opinion, I consider the figures created by King Ranger the genuine article as well as any of the official releases. Go to his page in the links in the description and follow him. Navi made a new prediction for the next cameo. The chemist in yellow shall grant thee Zords when thy believe. Gosei taught the Rangers about faith after losing a battle poorly against the Mute Orgs. Troy had a bug planted in him, which makes him think the other Rangers despise him. Gosei taught Troy to have faith in his friends. In an episode tribute to Mystic Force, Chip, the Yellow Mystic Rangers, was teaching the Megaforce Rangers the belief in magic, an understanding of good magic, sending them to retrieve the Mystic Zords. Emma and Gia are the ones trying to convince magic to the other three. Emma noticed Troy's behavior, immediately scanned for Mute Org DNA on him. After destroying the bug, Troy's faith in his friends were restored. since none of them thought poorly of him. None of them sees him as a traitor. Jake started having more feelings towards Gia after she told the team a funny story about her trying to con a sorcerer with faux street illusion. Meanwhile, Vrak found out about the Mystic Zords through a spy in the Ranger team. Thus, he alone decided to retrieve the weapons for himself. Racing towards the Zords, Troy reached them first and tried to remember the words and wisdom of Gosei and Chip. Through his concentration, the Mystic Sword granted the Megaforce Rangers the Mystic Legend mode. They used it against Vrak, who was unable to believe in magic to protect the Earth. His intention was read by the Mystic Swords, thus Vrak was unable to harness the powers. Chip also bestowed them the Mystical Heart Amulet. It will stabilize their Mystic Legend mode powers. Gosei congratulated the team on their belief. In an episode called Situation Not Said, Navi gave a prediction, an expensive talking head. Mac Hartford from Operation Overdrive entered the dimension and oversaw the Rangers in training. He see the Rangers were ready to have the powers to receive the Gosei Ultimate Command Ship, a weapon Mac's team and Noah developed together. The team tried to test it out, but Troy's mind was not in the right place. He has guilt for not telling an important secret to his team even though his team trusts him entirely. Thus, the entire team was unable to use it. The flight test is interrupted by a monster attack with Malcor overseeing it. Malcor seemed to despise Troy somehow. Troy took a real bad hit in the face and was knocked unconscious. Seeing the Red Ranger is down, Malcor told the monster to retreat. It has no sport or interest in conducting the experiment with the leader knocked out. When the fight was halted and the Rangers demorphed, the Rangers stared at Troy's face in shock. Beneath the skin lies a robot. Gosei didn't seem surprised by it, but the other Rangers were shocked. Turns out Troy was originally a civilian of a planet Warstar invaded. Warstar slowly took his body apart, replacing it with cybernetics to the point that Troy was purely a cyborg with living tissue. Troy is still wondering if his humanity is truly there or it was purely a programming. Since Troy was created by the Armada technically, he was in the army. He had turned against his programming and the Warstar when he became self-aware on the evils they had done. Troy was worried that the fellow Rangers won't trust him. He was wondering if Vrak found out about the Mystic Swords through him, with Mac's past parallel to Troy's robotic origins, questioning his existence and fuzzy memories, whether he is a sleeper agent or he actually has free will. Jake is starting to see how he was prejudiced against Titanium Knight, and he feels guilty about it. Gia tries to clear Jake of his guilty heart. Mac also revealed to Troy that his own father, Mr. Hartford, had created him out of the blueprints of the machine generals of the Machine Empire from Zeo, which gave him a sentient mind. Rather than going evil like what the Machine Empire did, he became the Operation Overdrive Red Ranger and has the heart for humanity. This was a nod to why Mr. Hartford did not build an army of robotic soldiers, fearing not all of them will end up like Mac, as each robotic soldier would have an individual sentient mind. Thus, only 5 of the Overdrive team members were chosen. Those he saw cannot be corrupted by power, which is what Mac see in the Megaforce team. With Mac's help and guidance, Troy trusts his team has accepted him. Emma tries to reassure Troy that he is in the driver's seat. No way the Warstar would do anything remotely heroic, as the Warstar wins the match to their side through might makes right rather than heroism. Troy finally decided he is in control of his own will and destiny, and will fight any Warstar programming in his mind. The Rangers had a rematch with the monster. Malcor was told to stay back as he was berated by Vrak for letting the Rangers go instead of destroying them. Without guidance, the monster lost easily. Thanks to Mac's help, the Rangers were able to receive the power of Gosei Ultimate Command Ship after the team's hearts were united, with no secrets holding them back anymore. If this was given earlier, the ship would have crashed due to conflict within the Rangers' hearts. Mac also gave the Rangers the drive shovel. Mac asks if Troy wants to become human, because he has a magical crown that transformed him into human, but Troy wants to stay the same way. He wants to discover his humanity through his current form, and Mac praises him for his courage and power. Mac gave Troy a heart-to-heart and said he sees him as human as the other Rangers. As a joke, the other Rangers call Mac a racist, since none of the Megaforce Rangers are humans but are actually aliens that look like humans. Jake also commented he was Mercurian, same species as Tyzon, Operation Overdrive's Silver Ranger. The team wants to use the ship, but Gosei told them the command ship still needs a lot of energy from the morphing grid to charge it. It will take a while until they can use it. A bummer. Troy asked why didn't Gosei tell his teammates if he knew he was a robot all along. Gosei says he has faith in Troy and will believe the team has faith in Troy as well. Interestingly enough, during the episode, Malcor hacked into Operation Overdrive and found the villains the Overdrive team had fought. He found out about the Fear Cats, Furious, and Moltor. He has interest in creating an army of Moltor. Malcor tried to present the newly stolen information to Vrak, but Vrak snubbed him and gave the information to Metal Alice instead as punishment. Malkor didn't mind. Navi gave a new prediction for the next episode. The 7 swordsmen and 1 is a double. Win the double, earn the double. As with the Power Rangers crossover tradition, Megaforce and Samurai teamed up 3-parter called Samurai Surprise. There was a portal between the Samurai dimension and Megaforce dimension. Vrak used all of his strength to enter it and went into the Netherworld. He decided to test out the powers of the Nilox. Malkor helped Vrak with his disguise. He used Warstar energy on a piece of Master Xandred, and Vrak absorbed the Nilox Master's powers. He also recruited a monster. Turns out this monster is exiled from the Warlocks of Mystic Force. They agreed to form an alliance to take over each dimension, starting off with the Samurai one. Octoroo was also in the alliance representing the Nilox, but is suspicious of Vrak's true intentions, and whether if he's truly a Nilok. Gosei detected it and instructed the Megaforce team enter the Samurai dimensions to help out the Samurai Rangers to fight against the Nilox and stop Vrak. The Samurai Rangers were summoned to help out Jaden. However, Jaden was captured and corrupted by Vrak. Malkor has perfected the mind control technology from the previous Queen Bee monster's parasite. Malkor told Vrak they need Jaden's fire powers to destroy the shield between the Samurai world and Gosei's world to transport the Sanju River waters. Vrak's plan was to bring the Sanju River to power up the Armada's weapons. Jaden destroyed the shield. The Megaforce and Samurai Rangers arrived to stop Vrak, but Vrak sent Jaden to fight against them. Troy was badly damaged when he tried to protect the Samurai Rangers, who were unable to attack their leader. Thus, Troy remained in the command house to recover. Meanwhile, the other Rangers trained side by side with the power cards and symbol powers to double their strength. As suggested by Gosei, Troy was later trained by Lauren to create a fire card strong enough to destroy the mind control parasite on Jaden. During Troy's training with Lauren, Troy learned about the Samurai Rangers' past. Jaden was actually adopted into the Shiba house purely to be a decoy. His powers in the fire symbol power was talented at a young age, but he was not as strong as a true Shiba fire symbol power. This was why the Shiba Fire Power Disc won't harm Jaden, but anyone carrying the Shiba bloodline could be destroyed by it. During the Samurai season, when Lauren returned to fight alongside with the Rangers, Jaden was kind enough to leave. There were cases where decoys chose to not leave, which created a civil war that torn between the samurai, which led to a feudal period in the warring states back in Japan. Usually, the decoy lord of the clan will either be exiled or destroyed to prove the team's loyalty. But Jaden knew Laura couldn't bring herself to do any of that. Thus, he chose to leave to prove his loyalty to the Shiba house, and make sure the samurai retainers will follow her lead. A sacrifice which she and Jaden wished never occurred. Having 2 Red Samurai Rangers fighting together could create a conflict of interest and inefficient during battles. When Vrak was transporting the waters of Sanju River into the Megaforce dimension, the Samurai Rangers and Megaforce Rangers arrived to stop him. However, they were intercepted by Jaden under mind control. Before Jaden annihilates the 2 teams, Troy arrives to face off Jaden. After a brief intense battle against the 2, the swordsmen were equally matched, but Jaden's fire symbol power proved to be too strong to handle. Before Jaden's final blow, the Samurai Rangers used their symbol powers to protect Troy, giving Troy enough time to power up the fire card. The card worked and Jaden's mind control parasite was burnt out. The full team of Megaforce and Samurai Rangers fought against Vrak and stopped his evil plans. The Rangers were successful. The Samurai Rangers sealed the Sanju River waters back to the Netherworld. Vrak decided it takes too much energy to transport the Sanju rivers. Thus, he returns back to his dimension despite Malkor's protests. We were also introduced to a new team somehow. They destroyed Octoroo. As a token of appreciation, Laura bestowed the Shiba Double Samurai Disc to the Megaforce Rangers. However, the team was still unable to work the disc because Troy was feeling insecure, as he is still having self-doubts whether he's a sleeping agent. As the Megaforce Rangers grew more powerful, the Armada grew wary. Vrak realized the power of the Morphin Grid and Gosei's power through Troy, who turns out his memory files were actually shared with the Warstar database. That was why Malkor halted the fight when Troy was badly injured. When Troy realized this, he became depressed and blamed himself. The Rangers delved at Troy at first, but through Gosei's reassurance, they found a way to block the Warstar database linked to Troy. Emma tries to comfort Troy. She had suffered the atrocity of the Empire, having her family wiped out in front of her. Gia realized to break the psychic link between Troy and Creepox, they must destroy Creepox. Creepox turned out to be the one who held Troy captive and turned him into a machine to work for the Empire. More machines were sent out at the same time. More original footage were shot. The Rangers were able to take down these monsters, making Vrak more obsessed about Gosei and the powers of the Morphin Grid. He used all of his might to locate the command cave. Throughout this time, we see Gia helping Emma developing her fighting skills. Now the two became as close as sisters. Emma's fighting had improved significantly, while Gia, with her comic relief to get-rich-quick money schemes run by the War Star, started to see there is much more to life than just money. Gosei had taught her people are more important than money despite her intentions. In the first episode of the finale, the Mute Orc sent spies and stole the Heart Amulet from the base. Before the spy could reveal their location, it was destroyed. Without the Heart Amulet, the Rangers were unable to use their Mystic Legend mode. Malkor used the Heart Amulet to disable Gosei, which also temporarily locked the wormholes to the dimensions of the Veterans' parallel universes. During the struggle, Troy absorbed some powers of the amulet. It is time for the Rangers to grow up without their beloved mentor. Malkor finally stepped in and fought against the Rangers after seeing them being too much of a threat, while Metal Alice faced Titanium Knight. The battle was bitter. The three factions of the War Star were destroyed. Multiple monsters were discharged at the same time. Zords fell after Zords, Wild Force finale style. Except these Zords remained destroyed and gone. We see the full destructive powers of Malkor and Kreepox. They are able to single-handedly destroy Zords, but they need to recover after using that much energy. Malkor was nearly destroyed by the Rangers, which was brutal, ripping his wings and antenna off, but his life was saved by the Heart Amulet. With Malkor knocked out cold, the portals were slowly unlocked. Vrak's command ship was destroyed with him in it, and he temporarily lost his memories. He went through an existential crisis which dragged down the entire chain of command. Troy had the powers of the amulet, which was able to power up the Rangers to the Mystic Legend mode for now. The Rangers faced the Mute Orcs generals who were blocking their powers. However, it was a trap and the Rangers were trapped in the Mute Orcs' pocket dimension. After realizing the command ship has been fully charged and finally operational, Titanium Knight piloted the Gosei command ship and launches it to rescue the Rangers. In the chaos of battle against the army of War Star monsters, after taking down so many, he was missing in action. Metal Alice was badly damaged in her fight with the Titanium Knight, but was salvaged by Vrak, who thought he was her drone. She was revived by the Heart Amulet. Kreepox was sent down to take down the Rangers. Troy confronted Kreepox and demanded to know his origins. Kreepox revealed that Troy's memories are actually his and are not programs, but some were taken away. In fact, Kreepox was the one who captured Troy, because Kreepox was in love with Troy's girlfriend, Chameleact. She is also Malkor's daughter. In the flashback, Chameleact looks human but should go through the morphosis into a bug like a monster, similar to Trachina and Scorpius. But Malkor disapproved of his daughter being with Troy, so his daughter, in defiance, decided to remain humanoid and elope with Troy. This angered Malkor, thus he hired Kreepox to kidnap Troy. Unfortunately, it made Chameleact hate Kreepox. With Troy's disappearance, Kreepox proposed a marriage to Chameleact, which she turned him down in disgust. She later disappeared as well. Kreepox was heartbroken by her absence, thus decides to torture Troy through endless surgeries to turn him into a pure cyborg. This will prolong Troy's endless suffering as long as possible to punish him. Until the last surgery which converted Troy into a pure cyborg, Troy lost his memories due to the shock without anesthetics. This brings the question, if a ship has every original part of it replaced throughout the years, is it still the same ship or a different ship? Kreepox has the duel against Troy, and Troy finally defeated Kreepox, whom was barely alive. Kreepox was salvaged by the Loogies, and he was saved by the Heart Amulet as well. During the final climactic battle, the Megaforce Rangers were then confronted by the Armada's newest minion, Titanium Knight. Vrak converted Titanium Knight under his command using the Queen Bee mind control through the powers of the drills he had placed on the planets. It is actually draining powers from Gosei. Every time the Rangers destroy a monster, it absorbs the residue energy from the morphing grid. He is collecting the energy to power his X-Borgs and Armada ships to arrive on Earth. Titanium Knight fought against the Rangers. It was a standoff, but the Rangers were able to take out Titanium Knight. Troy used the powers of Lauren's fire card merged with the remaining powers of the Heart Amulet within him. He channeled it into Titanium Knight, cleansing him of Vrak's powers. Same way he knocked Jaden out of the mind control. Turns out, Vrak was using Titanium Knight to stall time, while finalizing the location of the Megaforce Rangers base. Vrak wants to figure out who he is and whether if he's real or just a robot. The Warstar located the command cave and launched a full assault. Vrak reactivated Gosei. The two had an exchange. Vrak says the Armada creates weapons, but Gosei is no better, as he formed ordinary orphans into murderers, the Rangers for their beloved mentor. The Armada ships were powered by the drills, which sent them faster across the galaxy. The Rangers tried to summon their Megazords to fight. The Megaforce was stripped of their powers and their Megazords completely annihilated in battle. Titanium Knight located and confronted Vrak for the last time. Armada generals stormed the command cave. Jake and Noah protected the fellow Rangers when the command cave was bombarded. Jake shielded Gia and the other Rangers with a Mercury force field from the overloading Morphin grid. The explosion absorbed him into the grid. Noah was in a standoff with other monsters in the energy cell. The monsters told him if he shoots, the flammable gas would ignite, destroying him all along. Noah told the other Rangers to run and blew up the cell, Lightspeed Rescue Red Ranger style, taking the monster along with him. Gosei was kidnapped by Armada soldiers for Vrak's further study of the Morphin grid. Then Vrak commanded his soldiers to burn down the entire command cave. Vrak was then summoned to leave Earth. The Warstar had temporarily retreated because it was announced the Emperor had died of natural cause, and it is time for Vrak's ascension to the throne. With Vrak's confusion in command, he told every high-ranking Armada officers to retreat. There are also mass insurrections in the homeworld because of the rumors in Vrak's memory loss. So Vrak must return to maintain the throne and fight a civil war. Vrak is still unsure of who he is. With the capture of Gosei, the three Rangers and Navi were completely lost. The enemy retreated but is victorious. Gosei Megazords destroyed, Rangers' morales diminished, and Gosei, Jake, Noah, and Titanium gone. What will the three remaining Rangers do now? Thank you everyone for listening to this. Season 2 will be created shortly after this. I'll try my best. It has been quite busy. And thank you for still following along, even though, I had a lot of disappearances. But I'll try to use YouTube to contact with you guys. And please stay tuned for more. In the second season of Megaforce, it started off with the episode called Pirate on the Boat. The remaining three Rangers were trying to figure a way to fight back, since the Warstar's weapon testing has halted, so the majority of the Warstar retreated temporarily to their capital planet to crown Vrak as the universe's new emperor, while also fighting a civil war that broke out after the death of Vrak's father. However, the Earth is still blockaded by Armada ships. The morale was damaged when the Warstar abducted Gosei, but Emma is still trying to stay hopeful, while Troy is brooding over the loss of Titanium Knight, and Gia is missing Jake. The team is also mourning the loss of Noah. Navi gave a new prediction. The Phantom pilot of the skyship returns from the past. The Rangers return to the ruins of a command cave to see if there are any way to fight the Armada, or if there are any backup plans by Gosei. After the Rangers try to boost the signal of their semi-repaired morphers, they are able to get a signal which contacted Zordon in the past. Turns out Gosei was Zordon's pupil,
and Zordon decided to send his current pupils to aid the Rangers. Zordon also instructed the Rangers never mention their mentor Gosei and fellow Rangers who were decimated in the battle, or it will mess with the space-time continuum. Through time travel, Zordon's apprentices arrive to Earth immediately on a red skyship. Even though the leader of the Armada is gone temporarily, there was still a blockade. The red skyship formed into the pirated Megazord and unleashed its fury onto the blockade. The warships didn't expect an attack from a one Megazord army. The Armada ships were all destroyed except for the flagship. The Megazord is a lot nimbler than previous Zords, but looks a lot weaker in terms of durability. The Megazord had a stalemate against the Armada flagship. At the end, the flagship was finally destroyed, but it badly damaged the skyship. The pirated Megazord lost the flight ability. Only the separate Zords can fly now. They will need upgrades in the future. The pilot and co-pilot landed and greeted the Rangers.
The pilot is called Orion. Zordon rescued him from his dimension and brought him to Altar that began his training to become a wise old sage. Orion acts as the exposition of the group. He started off like a wild leader, basically reverse Andros of In Space, and later he evolved to become a reserved mentor. Positive and outgoing though. Happy-go-lucky. Orion is also mentioned that he has the ability to turn invisible, which was useful when he was a space pirate. The co-pilot was someone who looks exactly like Noah, but he calls himself Dr. Carver. He is a pacifist, and he hates fighting, similar to Billy in Mighty Morphin Season 1. He was the complete opposite of Noah. It was implied he's like a clone, thus the identical appearance. Apparently, Orion was learning how to operate the morphing grid and channel the energies from the morphing grid to the morphers to become like Zordon. While being Zordon's apprentice, he also made his team of Power Rangers. His team of Power Rangers are pirate based, since he was once a pirate rebelling and robbing Warstar Empire ships. With the help of Dr. Carver, the pirate modes are the weakest team of Power Rangers ever to cross the past 20 seasons. Orion's power in producing biofuel cell was not as powerful as Gosei or Zordon's or any of the previous teams. He acted as a wire and channeled some energies from previous Power Ranger teams, thus introducing the anniversary gimmick of turning into past Rangers, Legendary Ranger modes, a temporary few seconds of a power boost. Orion and Dr. Carver brought a bunch of Ranger keys while he was working on creating powers, by copying the abilities of existing Rangers first. The pirate powers are supplied by Orion, but the legendary powers are not. Orion needs to charge the morphing grid energies into the keys. It takes time to charge the keys, but the energies will be used up quickly. Thus, fights using the legendary keys were short. Note, there were many non-Power Ranger suits footage in Gokaiger, so when Saban used those footage, they superimposed Power Ranger suits into the Sentai-only suits. Dr. Carver warned Armada would return, but not yet, so they could spend some time training with the Ranger keys. Before they knew it, a space mafia gang of Divatox in this dimension showed up. Not the same Divatox from Turbo we know. Orion recognized the space mafia and told the group they are junkers and gangsters that collect scraps and leftovers from the Armada Empire and sell it on the black market. The mafia boss, Lothar, declared to the Earthlings to help them gather all the alien scrap metals across the Earth or be incinerated. To show the Earth they meant business, they started ransacking the Earth and Rangers decided it's time to test their new powers. Emma became Pirate Pink and Gia became Pirate Yellow. Dr. Carver became Pirate Green. It was implied the Pirate Green Ranger key was supposed to be for Jake rather than Dr. Carver. He should be acting as a technician instead. Unfortunately, Jake was still missing. Here's a twist. Orion became Pirate Red, Troy became Pirate Blue. The color swap of Troy turning from red to blue was a nod to the Saban series. Whenever there's a suit change, the Red Ranger will usually go from red to blue, like Rocky and TJ. It is also better suited for their personalities, because Gosei Red and Gokai Blue wields melee weapons, and it's been clearly established Gokai Blue is a swordsman, so is Gosei Red. Gokai Red's fighting style is very unique when compared to Gosei Red, so that's why the two are different. And Gokai Green, Gosei Blue, and Gosei Black are clearly three different people, which fits the narrative better. Because I really can't see Gosei Black goofing off. The Rangers were able to fight hand in hand with the bootleg X-Borgs from the Mafia and the main villain of the episode. The first team they morphed into was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, then In Space, then Operation Overdrive. All these core teams share the same color scheme as the first team of Power Rangers and the original Megaforce colors: red, blue, yellow, pink, and black. After the monster was defeated, Troy asked if this will be their newest villain of the season. Orion told him no. The Space Mafia is nothing compared to the Armada. Divatox gang is a joke compared. Orion demanded to speak to Lothar when they were retreating, after seeing how powerful the Pirate Rangers are. The two spoke through hologram. Orion asked if the Earthlings has crossed any of the Mafia's honors or rules. The Mafia scans the Earth, then said no. Orion then asked if the Earth is protected by a mysterious power source. The Mafia scanned the planet, which in turn scanned the morphing grid as well. Orion then told him, "You're not the first to come to a planet with a morphing grid. There have been so many invaders of Earth and in parallel dimensions. What happened to them?" The Mafia scanned and saw all past Power Rangers seasons across the dimensions. When Megaforce was shown, Orion stepped in and said, "Where are the Power Rangers? Got a headache yet?" The Mafia immediately left in horror. Orion told his crew the Mafia will never be returning. Orion told Troy he's not there to take over Troy's position as leader, but Troy cuts him off and nominates him as leader. The team elected Orion to be the leader of this team. Orion tried to force a smile, but he knows he's not leader material. Meanwhile, a new fleet of the Armada has arrived to continue their weapons testing. Some ships rendezvous to Earth. Metal Alice has been rebuilt. Malcor was badly damaged in the previous battle with the Rangers, but also got reconstructed as a cyborg. There is also a mysterious silver robot knight called Argus. It's been established that there are different types of cyborgs. Some are permanently attached to their cyber implants. Malcor is like in an exosuit, while Troy is permanently attached to the cyber implants. Metal Alice and Malcor needs time to recover, but they still act as advisor to the young and experienced temperamental prince who is Vrak's cousin. Prince Vakar is Vrak's replacement as the boss this season, and he is a comedic villain. His funny side was due to his incompetence despite his overqualified staff. If Vrak was Darth Vader, then Vakar is Dark Helmet. There were new upgrades of foot soldiers, Ixborgs and Bruisers, a lot tougher than Loogies. Vrak left because there was a civil war going back on his home planet after the previous Emperor's death, and Vrak lost his memories. Vakar declared himself to be the next in line when Vrak is defeated, so Vakar is cowardly hiding away from his own civil war while putting on a brave face to pretend he is a threat to be reckoned with, using Earth as an example to those who opposes him. For the Power Rangers' quest to defeat the Armada and master the Morphing Grid, they need to earn and master the powers of veteran Rangers. Without proper understanding of the power, it'll be like pouring a bucket of water into a shot glass. Rangers not on par will not be able to use the ultimate powers. Amongst all Power Ranger seasons, the part powers this team holds are by far the weakest, since Orion is still an intern, and Dr. Carver lacks the resources, except sample powers of previous Rangers. Dr. Carver explained the veteran Ranger keys jailbreak certain parts of the Morphing Grid and give bootleg limited powers. The battery life of the keys are laughably short, and it takes a full day to charge. When all the authentic veteran Ranger powers are combined, it could rewrite the entire space-time continuum to whoever wields the powers. Troy, Gia, and Emma realize how desperate they are to find all the powers of the veteran Rangers, not just to restore their lost homeworlds, but to save Gosei, Jake, and Noah. After a few filler episodes that explains how the pirate power and how the character dynamics work, we learn that Troy unconditionally trusts Orion and Dr. Carver. Gia is feeling uneasy around Dr. Carver as she saw him as replacing both Noah and her love, Jake. Emma thinks Orion is too self-indulged and prefer Gosei's mentoring. Like imagine if Antonio took over Mentor G's role on Samurai. All fun and adventure seeking, but gets sidetracked all the time. In the next episode called Framed, Navi gave a prediction. Guardians of Aliens and Police of Mutants becomes your judge, jury, and executioner. Time Force has chosen Anubis Doggy Kruger, the Shadow Ranger, to be sent back in time in a collaboration between Time Force and SPD. Pirate Ranger Red, Orion is to be taken into custody under the suspicion of breaking the laws of time in the murder of Ninjor from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 3. He was accused of blowing up the Temple of Power. Since Doggy has used the Morphing Grid for a long period of time, he was able to materialize in this dimension. The Morphing Grid here is not synchronized to the SPD Morpher, so he cannot morph. The Rangers were shocked at first to find out about Orion being arrested, but they put their faith in Dr. Carver, who doubted the claim. Even Emma knows Orion's asinine attitude won't go that far. Dr. Carver told the SPD team working with the Shadow Ranger he has extensive records and evidence on the skyship to prove Orion's innocence. The team wants to stick with Orion, but Orion tells them to leave him and split up. He suspects foul play from the Armada. While Gia tries to interject, Orion split up runs from them, so Doggy would chase after him instead and ignore the rest of his team. Even though the Rangers were able to run away from Doggy, Orion was unable to sneak away from Doggy. The two accidentally stumbled into an Armada plot to send missiles, upgraded versions of the drill in the last season used by Vrak, to drill into the core to test if the magma could destroy the Earth and harness the geothermal energy power from the destruction. They can't do this experiment again because it's very costly and the hefty civil war isn't helping the economy. Meanwhile, the other Rangers are trying to find a way to regroup with Orion. They were overseen by a mysterious man from SPD. They ran into a group of Ixborgs and Bruisers. The Rangers defeated them by transforming into RPM and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The mysterious SPD man came to them. The Rangers prepared to run, but he stopped them, telling them he is not arresting them anymore. He offered to help clear Orion's name, but he will need the Rangers' trust. After catching Orion, Doggy told Orion to stay put and try to fend off the Armada soldiers despite not being able to morph. Orion realized how badly damaged Doggy was. Doggy was overwhelmed by the sheer number of Ixborgs and Orion jumped in the rescue, helping Doggy in time. Orion's honor won Doggy's trust over, so Doggy returned Orion's Morphine key. Orion said he might be running away after he gets his stuff back, but Doggy said he believes in Orion's character. Orion passes Doggy the SPD Red Ranger key to Doggy to promise he won't run away. Orion took out a bunch of exports to protect the Earth from Warstar missiles, but he was exhausted that he was badly beaten up by the final boss of the day. Fortunately, he was able to take out the missiles, and the other Rangers showed up in time to help him. After he is reunited with the team, Doggy passes the SPD Red Ranger key to Orion. The pirates all morphed into SPD Rangers and took down the monster. The monster grew large, and Doggy decides to send them the SPD Zord to help them. By the end of the battle, Silver Guardians and Time Agents came to arrest the pirate crew. However, it was proven that the Armada had fabricated lies about their pirate rangers, and they were all pardoned thanks to Dr. Carver and Navi for working simultaneously with a mysterious SPD agent. Turns out, that man is Sky, SPD Red Ranger from the future. They were also allowed to keep the SPD Zord to fight against the Armada. Doggy thanked the team and returned back to his own universe and timeline. Sky thanked the Pirate Rangers as well. These events occurred after Jack Launders retired from SPD and Sky became the Red Ranger, where Bridge is the Blue Ranger. This means that the events took place on Operation Overdrive's Once a Ranger episode came after this series. After briefing and congratulating the team on their victory, Sky passes the team a blank Ranger key, telling them to give it to Jake. As a reward from Dr. Tommy Oliver, Eric Myers, and Trent Fernandez has been completed. The team stood in silence and sorrow. Sky tries to reassure the team and told them whatever is inside the morphing grid cannot be created nor destroyed. There's still hope for Jake's return. Dr. Carver has been holding back for a bit, but he finally snapped and crumbled onto the floor. Orion tried to calm him down and explained that Dr. Carver suffered from PTSD after being hunted by the Armada since birth. So the chase from the SPD and the Time Agents has been quite a bit too much. Thanks to Emma, she finally calms him down. Then Orion told Gia sometimes he works on his own because he fears for his crew's safety. Gia told Orion that the entire team can hold on by themselves and he needs to have more faith in them. In this next episode called Doe of the Tiger, the monster of the day was easily able to steal their weapons. Orion, Troy, and Gia was able to fight against the monster in hand-to-hand combat through Wild Force powers. But Dr. Carver and Emma were not up to par. Emma realized with the downgrade from the Mega powers, she will need to work twice as hard to be back at what she was. Emma and Dr. Carver both want to improve their fighting skills. After the magnetic scientist retreated, Navi gave a prediction. Pizza time, takeout, not delivery. Orion overheard that and his stomach rumbles. So he gave Emma and Dr. Carver coordinates to buy takeouts from the best pizza across all Power Ranger universes, since it's their time to get lunch. Everyone else started going to different pizza joints on Earth to look for the powers, harassing customers and servers alike. Emma and Dr. Carver entered an invisiportal in a pizza joint. They saw one of the cooks tossing pizzas very skillfully and decides to talk to him. He has an interesting tattoo as well, shaped of a claw. Turns out the pizza cook was actually Casey from Jungle Fury. After learning about the Order of the Claw, they decide to ask Casey to help them with their training. Meanwhile, the rest tried to scout out for pizza delivery boys. They ran into the magnetic scientist again. They used the Dino Thunder keys against the scientists, but they were no match because Metal Alice gave him an upgrade. Back in Jungle Fury's dimension, Casey later helped them unlock their jungle spirits at first through making pizza dough, parallel to RJ telling Casey to clean stuff for him. In an interesting note, while Emma and Dr. Carver were at Casey's pizza parlor, there were pictures in the background of unknown ranger teams. That picture is Die Ranger, a kung fu-based Sentai team similar to Jungle Fury. In another shot, there was Maskman, Dingy Man, Changeman, Liveman, and Bioman picture hung up there. RJ, the mentor of Jungle Fury, did mention about Power Rangers existing in their universe.
Did you ever hear of the Power Rangers?
Yeah, who hasn't?
Well, guess what? You be them.
There are possibly the previous Rangers that exist before Jungle Fury in this universe, since Jungle Fury's universe is independent from the other universes. After Emma and Dr. Carver learned Pai Shui style Kung Fu, they returned back to their universe when Navi told them the other Rangers need their help. They thanked Casey and told them they will return for further training. Casey told them he has taught them everything he knew, and they are talented students. They will learn more as they apply Casey's technique in battle. The two regroup and the pirates transform into Jungle Fury. Dr. Carver earned the respect of Gia after seeing how he motivated Emma to be stronger in mentality and physically, something that Gia and Emma bonded over in the previous season. In the next episode, Navi gave a prediction. Find the magical floating island in the sky. Earn Faith of the Dragon and Heart of the Lion. The Rangers remembered they had powers on the Mystic Force. They took out the Mystic Sword that's now returned in the original form. They tried to summon their Mystic Mode powers, but there was nothing. They tried it with the Pirate Megazord. Nothing came out. Troy's powers of the Heart Amulet has ran out after converting Titanium Knight back to good. Emma then reminded the team about faith and not lose hope. The Rangers accidentally encountered an Armada ship, which made them crash land on an island. While fighting the giant Armada soldiers, Gia decides maybe it's the newcomers that doesn't know anything about Mystic Force magic. She tried to teach the two about faith and in the will of good magic. As long as mind is placed into it, it can make anything magical and possible. Orion believes in magic without hesitation, but Dr. Carver has trouble in believing, since he saw everything as science, even unexplained phenomenon. He believes in meritocracy. Only hard work yields fruits. After encountering a monster, the group was split in two. The girls were with Troy, and they used a team of black and white rangers against the cyborgs. Orion and Dr. Carver were hunted down by the monster. After interacting with Orion, Dr. Carver finally had faith in good magic during times of desperation. The team regrouped. They used the Mystic Force mode to defeat the Armada scientist who was planning to boil the Earth's molten core, for science of course. This experience allowed them to transform the Mystic Sword into the Mystic Dragon Sword, when Gia taught Dr. Carver to realize not only hard work is needed, but faith is required as well. They continued to look for the island on the sky. There was a character development with Troy's troubled past. Troy was still struggling to let go of his past as an Armada weapon, and how he was the cause of his team's near destruction in the last season. The Rangers tried to help him to cope with this, but he was haunted by nightmares of his past life where his loved one was lost and he was forced to become a cyborg. After Varrock's demand for the Armada's finest, the Armada's two elite swordsmen came. They made fun of Malkor's incompetence and reputation for not being able to control a simple experimental planet. Meanwhile, the pirates took a rest to get groceries. Take note, throughout the entire series, the pirates has been interacting with Earthlings they were protecting. Many were very appreciative of them protecting them, but most didn't know what they looked like in civilian mode. Also, it has been established that Gosei was so powerful that the Rangers didn't need to eat. They fed on the morphing grid energies. Orion, on the other hand, is not as powerful. The entire team need food, so Orion sold GS jewelry for money, which was able to feed them for a year. Varrock sent one of the swordsmen to take out the Rangers. One challenges Troy to duel after he had insulted Troy's swordsmanship with a humiliating defeat. Troy trained trying to face his inner demons with the abilities programmed into him, wondering if his abilities of swordsman meant it is the symbol of the Armada or it's actually his core personality. After being defeated by the swordsman, Emma and Troy had a heart-to-heart, saying his abilities are his own and it makes him unique. Emma decides to watch over Troy's battle with the Armada swordsman. Troy was tricked into a trap since the monster was trying to cheat. Emma and other Rangers came to the rescue, giving the Rangers swords to him. The Rangers take out all small fries who are interrupting the duel. The episode ends with Troy realizing his identity is his own, not the Armada's programming. After Dr. Carver found out, the swordsman program within Troy allows him to duel with 2 swords at maximum. He overrode the system by wielding 5 swords at once. Orion was surprised to learn that Troy is a robot, because he has never felt a presence of humanity within a person as much as Troy before. Orion told Troy to believe in himself. Even programs could be ridden by memories and feelings. In the next episode, called The Lion's Choice, the Rangers accidentally entered the floating island after crossing into another universe during a fight against a patrolling Armada warship. They landed and the Rangers used the Lost Galaxy mode against the monster. From Wild Force, Princess Sheila and Red Line Zord made a cameo. Interestingly enough, when the Rangers morphed into Lost Galaxy mode, Princess Sheila recognized their form and said they reminded her of the ancient para-animals that left Earth and into a wormhole, ending up helping another world called Mernor. Ancient Animaria warriors have worked side by side with these ancient creatures. These ancient creatures requested the Wild Zords to choose warriors for their new world. The ancient Wild Force warriors forge and place the Quasar Sabers on the planet. Whoever is able to pull the swords out will be worthy. Originally, the Red Line Zord did not see them worthy of its help, kicking the Armada and the Rangers off his island. The Rangers then met Cole Evans, whose pet clinic was right below, on Earth. The veteran says he alone cannot pass them the power. It's actually the Wild Line Zord that holds it. They have to earn it from him. Scouting the new Earth, Vakar told the monster of the day to test out the weapons to see if humans in this universe is as fragile as the ones in his universe. Malkor told them to halt, but Prince Vakar ignored him. Malkor was disgusted by this atrocity against civilians and innocents. Dr. Carver and Emma were able to convince the veteran about their worthiness and their hearts are all in to protect the Earth, especially after seeing Dr. Carver preventing the monster from stomping a flower. They use the Wild Force mode to take a monster of the day from beating up civilians. The Red Line Zord decides to cross into the dimensions to aid them whenever they need him. The other Zords did not join because only the Wild Zords healed by the Soulberg could cross the dimension.
Anybody looking for tokusatsu toys? Not feeling like dropping $300 on a Shoto phone? Fear not, that's where I come in. What I do is locate Super Sentai and Kamen Rider merchandise and get them to you at a reasonable price. I specialize in Ranger keys, but with my knowledge of tokusatsu, I can help you find just about anything you're looking for. The process is simple. Request a particular toy, figure, or other piece of merch. I'll offer you a ballpark estimate on cost, and if it fits what you're hoping for, then the hunt's on. I'll scour along my sources to find the merchandise you want at the price you want. I pride myself on being able to find some cool stuff, so help me help you find what you're looking for. If you email me at tokusatsurequest@gmail.com, we can get you set up with some toys from your favorite tokusatsu series. Thanks for hearing me out, and I hope to see you soon.
In the next story arc two-parter called Hello Old Finn, we found out about the whereabouts of Titanium Knight. Navi gave a prediction: Line Swordsman power. After the swordsmen of the Armada came to help Prince Vakar, he became overconfident and wants to be in the front line as well as to confront the Rangers. One of Vakar's minions, Argus, uses the same attack as Titanium Knight had used. Troy recognized that fighting style. Turns out, Argus is Creepox, resurrected by the Armada through the use of the Titanium Header, original form of Troy's friend, Titanium Knight. This shocked Troy. Creepox's rivalry with Troy had returned. Troy wants to turn Titanium Knight back to normal, yet failing frequently as Creepox is in charge of the cyborg. Kinda ironic how Creepox, who turned Troy into a cyborg, ended up being a cyborg himself. But the reunion was shortened after Troy was stunned. Orion stepped in to protect Troy from being blasted before Argus delivered a powerful blow which badly damaged Orion. Orion blasted at Argus and the Prince. The Prince was badly wounded and Argus lost his sword. Melkor ordered for an immediate retreat. While Orion was recovering, using a natural remedy suggested by Navi from Princess Shayla, Troy left to meet Argus. The two dueled while the other Rangers fought against the elite swordsman general. Argus says he does not remember anything of his life as Creepox or Titanium Knight. His allegiance is to his master, Prince of Kar. Troy tried to remind Argus with the sword style that Titanium Knight had taught him, but to no avail. The duel ended with Argus easily defeating a depressed Troy. Troy's morale was crushed because Creepox has taken everything away from him. His love, his life, his body, and now even Titanium Knight. But as Troy touches his Morpher and Ranger key, he saw that even though his past is all taken away, he still has friends to look forward to. Friends who trust him, who puts their faith in him. Troy returns to join the Rangers, relinquishing himself from any self-doubt. His arc of acceptance of himself and his side by his friends are over. At this point, when the Rangers morphs into Samurai, Troy was able to summon the Samurai double disc received from the Samurai Rangers. With the power of bonds and trust towards each other, the Red Line Zord was touched by this, and together, the Fury Line and the Rangers were able to unleash the hidden powers from the Samurai Double Disc. With the team's strong bonds, they were able to create the Wild Samurai Pirate Zord to defeat the monster. In a fillerish episode called Robot Reprogram for Blue, Navi gave a prediction: pizza time, delivery, not takeout. Not to one of the most infamous Power Rangers episode, it's a tribute to Power Rangers Turbo. Justin Stewart, now a grown man, stepped into this dimension to visit the Rangers and help the Pirate Rangers. Meanwhile, on the command ship of the Armada, we were introduced to a new character called Invidious. He is a slave and cook of the Armada. He's been forced to work under the Armada. He was never interested in fighting. He was hoping to land, sneak onto Earth, leave the Armada, and learn about Earthland cuisines. Invidious made a tea filled with nanorobots programmed for mind control, hoping it will allow Metal Alice to set him free. However, it accidentally reprogrammed Metal Alice to love the first thing she ever saw. She saw Justin through observing the Rangers' progress and immediately wanted Justin to be her husband. Invidious made a deal with her, trading Justin for Invidious' freedom. Justin Stewart has become an inventor and worked alongside with Ethan from Dino Thunder. The two provided a lot of equipment used by SPD in the future. He was there to check out the Rangers' equipment. However, Invidious was sent there to capture him. The Rangers tries to protect him. As a joke, the Rangers morph into Operation Overdrive, which looks like a car series just like Turbo, which Justin said, "That is not Power Rangers Turbo." So the Rangers transformed into Power Rangers Turbo instead to rescue Justin. After Invidious was defeated, the nanobot reprogramming was broken, and Metal Alice was no longer interested in Justin. But Metal Alice stared at Troy for a bit before retreating. Something is stirring inside her. Dr. Carver joked maybe Metal Alice is into Troy. Justin Stewart from Turbo provides a flying Zord, the Scorching Cyclone Turbo Zord, to help the Rangers in aerial combats. But unfortunately, this Turbo toy was still in production, so it was not sent there until the finale of the season. Orion did have a special bond with Justin. Orion recognizes Justin and said how much he's grown. Justin did recognize Orion too, saying he's surprised that Orion is finally not invisible. This will be explored further on. Emma used this episode to show Troy how love can be easily taken away if it was just a program. If Troy did not have a heart to love, it would have been easily gone. After seeing how much Troy fought its programming, Troy do still have feelings to his girlfriend. This pain proving he is Troy, not computer codes of the Armada. Until later turns out, the fight destroys the Armada's tracking chip within Invidious, who was freed by the Rangers, and he is not destroyed. He disguises himself as a human. Now, off onto his adventure to become the next Gordon Ramsay. Navi gave a vague prediction yet again. Not these Orions, but that Orion over there is dangerous. And the two-parter called From Sinister in the Sixth and Auxiliary with Evil, a nod to Titanium Rangers from Deep in the Shadows and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Green Rangers, Green with Evil, Orion has a secret. Orion is from the planet Triforia, where Orion can split into three beings. Orion of Courage, Orion of Heart, and Orion of Wisdom. Orion believes through splitting up into three beings, he could learn the morphing grid faster. While Orion has been practicing, Orion of Wisdom taps into the forbidden areas of the morphing grid, where there were a remnant of evil powers, specifically the 6th and Auxiliary Ranger powers. Orion of Wisdom was corrupted by the powers and has transformed into a monstrous form called Viginti. Orion of Courage and Orion of Heart realize how dangerous the morphing grid can be, decides to unite together and stay as one being to avoid corruption. Seeing Orion of Wisdom can never be returned, both sides declared the arch nemesis of each other. Viginti actually uses the same suit as Kamen Rider Wizard because the morphing grid feels like magic merged with technology. Orion cannot destroy Viginti. If he destroyed a part of himself, he will no longer become a soiled being, but become a pure energy being, which he would die without a proper mystical container, similar to Zordon and Gosei. Viginti wants to harness the entire morphing grid and become the new darkness of Supreme Master of the Underworld. He wants all the Ranger powers for himself to restore the Alliance of Evil and become the next Dark Spectre. He learned to harness and produce a bunch of 6 Ranger and extra Ranger keys. Weird enough, Viginti actually produced a Titanium Knight key. Viginti can summon Ranger puppets to do his biddings from his Ranger keys. Viginti has a personal favorite key, the Titanium Ranger, which acts as his bodyguard, butler, and assistant. It was used all the time. In Gokaiger, Vasco has Sally. In this case, Titanium Ranger acted as Viginti's Sally. Titanium Ranger Key is the first sentient Ranger Key that was constructed by Viginti. He has turned the Ranger Key into doorway to the underworld. He can use the Titanium Ranger Key power to summon giant demons to battle the Rangers, probably from the same ones from the demon realm of Lightspeed Rescue. In his first outing, Viginti kidnapped Orion's team and demands Orion to hand over the Ranger Keys. Orion was able to trick Viginti in returning his friends without handing the keys over. He hid a morpher inside the treasure box filled with keys, threw it to his teammates. Dr. Carver caught the morpher with his mouth, and Troy grabbed a Ranger key, put it in the Morpher's keyhole. Dr. Carver morphed into Green Lightspeed Rescue Ranger and freed the team, while Vigilante tried to collect the scattered Ranger keys as the Rangers were busy finding the Ranger key clones. Navi collected the keys before Vigilante could do anything. However, Vigilante didn't care much for now because he wants Orion to power up the keys to their fullest potential through the help of veteran Rangers. Currently, the keys are insufficient in powers and require past Ranger teams' ultimate powers. The powers bestowed to the Megaforce team were added to the Ranger keys as well. Vigilante announces he will be hunting down for the ultimate powers that were not collected yet, and Orion should hurry up to collect them before Vigilante takes it all to himself. Orion told Vigilante he needs to master veteran Ranger checkpoints to gain the power. There is no shortcut. Vigilante responded he already has. He was held inside the morphing grid for over a decade. To Orion, it might be a few months ago since he was sealed, since Orion has time travel to the future. Vigilante was held there throughout all this time. That's how he learned all the powers. Navi gave a new prediction. Silver is the new black. Later in the following episode, Silver Light. The team was having a stalemate with the monster of the day who was using an energy field. Not even the new 6 Ranger powers could take him down. While the team retreated back to the skyship, Orion meditated to see if they could find a way to defeat the new monster. He was meditating into the morphing grid as a daily ritual to power up the keys. He found Jake lost in limbo within the morphing grid in his meditation. He asked Dr. Carver to help him see if this is true. Turns out it was confirmed. Jake is in the morphing grid, still alive but in a coma state. Orion uses the 6 Ranger key powers he had acquired from battle to pull Jake out. When Orion pulls Jake out of the morphing grid, Jake's Gosei Morpher was altered by the fighting spirits of the 6 Rangers, creating a new 6 Ranger Morpher. Orion immediately hands Jake the silver key given to him by Sky earlier. The silver key reacts to him and creates the silver Pirate Ranger key. Jake becomes Pirate Silver. The Rangers tried to keep Jake up to speed, but Jake says that since he was in the morphing grid for a while, he has seen all the history of Power Rangers up to this time, including the Pirate Rangers, and he knows all about Orion as well. Jake tested out his powers and took down the newest monster that had an impenetrable shield, where all 5 Rangers were no match against prior. Also, Prince Picard sacrificed the General of the Day by planting a bomb in the shield which, when touched, it will blow up the Rangers and the monster together. When he revealed this to Malcor, he was shocked by that move, because he sees every single subordinate is important. Since Jake lives inside the morphing grid for nearly a long period of time, he has knowledge of Power Rangers history. Recognizing all past Rangers, he sees them, fanboying all over the cameos. Basically, a Power Rangers fan in Power Rangers. There was also a running gag that Jake asks for signatures and selfies with the veteran Rangers. He also tries to give lectures about the history of Power Rangers, but Troy, Gia, and Orion were never interested. Navi gave a new prediction: colonists from Earth invites. Then, remembering about the veterans reward for Jake, the team decides to split up. Jake could test out his powers while everyone could look up on Prophecy for Earthling colonists. Jake looked for the Quantum Ranger Key, Mighty Morphin Green Ranger Key, and Dino Thunder White Ranger Key. The keys gave him intuition on how to use it. Before Jake could test out his powers, he was interrupted by the Scientist of the Week testing out X-Borgs. The other Ranger shows up to help Jake. There was a gag where Jake wants to use the Samurai Ranger keys, but his belt buckle isn't connected to the treasure box, so he needs Orion to pass him a key. Jake says the 6th Samurai Ranger key is the Gold Ranger with a symbol power written on the face. Orion passes Jake the Zeo Gold Ranger key. Jake realizes it's wrong and Orion correctly gave him the Gold Samurai Ranger key instead. They later morph into Silver Rangers. After the Scientist was defeated, it grew into a giant. Jake decides it's time to test out his new Zord. As hinted in the last season, Jake was bestowed the Quantum Flyer that was sent by Time Force team in the future, which was designed by Trent and Tommy Oliver from Dino Thunder. It has 3 different modes: Quantum Flyer Drill Mode, as a default, which is the tribute to Time Force. In the next mode, Dragon Mode, which is a tribute to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Dragon Sword. The final mode would be the Thundersaurus mode, a tribute to Dino Thunder Megazord, which also looks very suspicious in looking like the Mighty Morphin Megazord. It helped Orion achieve victory at ease. In a character building episode called The Armor of 6, since Jake was stuck in the morphing grid for a while, he has the ability to merge Ranger powers together. Dr. Carver asked if Jake has been corrupted by the morphing grid like Vigilante, but Gia defended Jake, said he heroically got absorbed into it while Vigilante entered it while he was corrupted already. This led to Dr. Carver's suspicion of Jake at first, then later resentment, because Dr. Carver felt he's overlooked and has inferiority complex. Dr. Carver took years of training and understanding of the Ranger powers to help Orion forge their pirate powers, but it took Jake merely a second to merge the RPM gold and silver keys together. The two later worked together and settled their differences after the rest of the team were defeated by the monster of the day. Dr. Carver inspired Jake to produce the season's battleizer, Jake's Gold Mode. In the next episode, Dr. Carver was out for groceries and he stumbled upon Viginti, who sent the Titanium Ranger key to attack Dr. Carver. Viginti retreated after the rest of the team shows up. We get a tribute called Destined for Magnitude. Carone and Diamond from Lost Galaxy contacted Dr. Carver through his phone and gave them the coordinates on where to meet, but Viginti intercepted the message and was there at Maranoia right in front of the Invisiportal. He summons Ranger Key powers to fight the Rangers while heading to Carone and Diamond first.
We may not be Power Rangers, but we still have power! Help! Air!
During a brief battle between Viginti's Ranger Keys and the Pirate Rangers, Viginti stole the Lost Galaxy Rangers' ultimate power, using the Magna Defender key to fool the Lost Galaxy Rangers. Checking his phone, Dr. Carver realized Viginti planted a bug that hacked the pirate mobile network. He immediately destroyed the bug. This made Dr. Carver doubt himself for making a terrible mistake of not seeing it coming, putting past Rangers in trouble. Feeling very demoralized and failing past Rangers, after the Rangers intervened, Leo, the Red Lost Galaxy Ranger, came to Damon and Carone's rescue before Viginti did any more damage. Orion asks why did Viginti become so evil. Viginti responds, it's all because of Orion's doing. After being separated during the chaos of battle, Leo had a talk with Dr. Carver. Dr. Carver feels he is not worthy to wield the Lost Galaxy powers, nor carry the title Power Rangers. He's merely a technician, an alpha. Dr. Carver wanted Leo to take over as the Green Pirate Ranger. Turns out, the Green Pirate Ranger key was never intended for him but for another Ranger, hinting either the power was supposed to be for Jake or Noah. After a pep talk parallel to Mike the Magna Defender with Leo on the Quasar Saber on replacement Rangers, Leo gave Dr. Carver reassurance that he is worthy to stay as a Ranger, since Dr. Carver risks his life for his friends, Carone and Damon. Dr. Carver promised Leo he will retrieve the Lost Galaxy Ranger powers. Dr. Carver and Jake teamed up and was able to take back the Magna Defender key. On an interesting note, when the Rangers morphed into Wild Force, Leo recognized seeing the resemblance of them in the ancient cave paintings of Zords, who fought side by side with the ancient Galacta beast on Maranoia's planet 3,000 years ago. Also, these beasts were the ones who helped forging the Quasar Sabers. There is also a Christmas special, a Gia focus episode. Gia has a special place for children. She used to steal for orphans whose parents were destroyed by the Armada. Gia's original goal is to save enough money to buy a planet for the orphan children, to do something that she couldn't for her sister, who unfortunately passed away. The monster of the day transforms people into dolls. So in the battle, since it is a Gia episode, the Rangers have an all-yellow change to fight against the monster. Jake even creates a new form to woo Gia, a Christmas Ranger, fighting alongside with all the White Rangers. In another tribute called Operation Neptune, Navi gave a prediction. Death could be an occupational hazard to save lives. The Rangers decides to recapture Viginti. Viginti has been sloppy in covering his tracks, and they followed his trail to Mariner Bay. The Lightspeed Rangers dimension. Carter Grayson and Dana Mitchell were on the way to rescue a burning hospital, a trap set up by Viginti. Gia and Emma went to aid them while the boys were preoccupied with Viginti's Ranger clones. The girls bonded with the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers while helping them. Emma had a few education in first aid while Gia uses her street smarts. Finally, all the Rangers finished clearing the civilians from the area. While Dana was attending her patients and Carter is firefighting, the Rangers morph into Lightspeed Rescue to fend the Ranger key clones from reaching Dana and Carter. Despite the pirates' best efforts, Viginti tricked the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers in passing their powers to the Titanium Ranger key clone. It was his plan all along. Emma and Gia tried to warn them, but it was too late. Viginti taunts the Rangers. Orion will eventually abandon them all. That's what he's best at, since Orion has abandoned him himself, a part of him. When Viginti was slowly getting corrupted, rather than saving him, Orion sealed Vigilante away immediately inside the dark side of the morphing grid. Orion started regretting what he had done to Vigilante. Vigilante left the dimension before the Rangers could stop him. The Lightspeed Rangers had a pep talk with the Rangers and tried to cheer the morale on, reminding them the Pirate Rangers helped them save civilians by preventing further destruction from Vigilante, which is more important than any Ranger power. The Pirate Rangers promised to take the powers from Vigilante. Continuing the events to Operation Overdrive tribute episode, Metal Alice has flashback of separating from someone or something. She accessed the stolen records in the archives of Overdrive of veteran Ranger villains. She decides to create an army of Moltor for the Armada Empire. Before cloning, she used the Heart Amulet to revive Moltor to test his true powers. However, once Moltor was revived, he was too strong against the mind control. He destroys Metal Alice's lackeys and escapes. Metal Alice contacts Troy through a robotic link. Troy dubbed her at first and told the other Rangers. After witnessing Moltor's rampage, the Rangers begrudgingly teams up with her. The Rangers used Operation Overdrive keys to take down Moltor, while the Armada fled. Metal Alice told them the weak point is the Heart Amulet on Moltor. Orion ripped it out of Moltor. Metal Alice scraps the idea of cloning Moltor. She was also berated for going behind Vakar's back and losing the Heart Amulet. Navi gave a new prediction: Pirates in the Storm. In the two-parter tribute called Pirate Storm, Metal Alice was pressured to rectify her mistake. Malkor proposes to help. He and Metal Alice use the residual powers she had collected to create an army of Moltor to resurrect two villains from Ninja Storm, Shimanzu and Vexicus. They were in the archives of Overdrive because there was a team episode where Tori, Ninja Storm Blue Ranger, shows up and they have detailed files of her season. The Ninja Villain Generals lures the Rangers into the Ninja Storm's dimension, and the real Ninja Storm Rangers notices the battle. Shane, Tori, and Dustin sent the Minizord to help. Vexicus was destroyed, but then Orion was distracted by the exchange between Vigilante and him. When Shimanzu sent a pocket dimension trap at the pirates, Orion pushes the Rangers out of the trap. Troy and Gia reacted the same way too. Only Jake, Emma, and Dr. Carver did not fall into the pocket dimension. The Ninja Storm Rangers, Shane, Tori, and Dustin came to help, but they didn't have any powers. They said they were tracking down Lothar as he has escaped from Mesogog's holding cell, but the Rangers reassures him he has been scared away and won't return. Seeing the potential of the three Rangers, the Ninja Storm Rangers, who are now masters, decides to train them the ways of the ninja. Jake is still sharing a link to the morphing grid, tries his best to summon the powers from the Wind Ninja's civilian powers, and the Pirate Ranger's ability to morph to power up the keys of the three Wind Ninjas. His powers were aided by the Heart Amulet. After training the Rangers in the ways of ninja in stealth and fighting, the ninjas head to the pocket dimension while Jake, Emma, and Dr. Carver try to fight off the Armada forces trying to eliminate them. Their teamwork is off without the other three Rangers. Once rescued, the Pirate and Ninja Storm Rangers morph together with the use of the Heart Amulet. The 9 Rangers defeats Shimanzu. Seeing the Rangers had learned well, the Ninja Storm team bestows the Rangers the Minizord as a diploma of graduating from ninja school. However, those Wind Rangers' power restoration was only temporarily. Seeing the Space Ninja villains being completely defeated, the Ninja Storm Rangers returns the keys back to the Pirate Rangers, hoping the copies of their powers would keep the Pirate Rangers world safe. The team talks to Orion and says pushing others out of the pocket dimension trap proved he is not what Vigilante said he is. He won't abandon his friends, but his friends won't let Orion abandon himself. The Heart Amulet will take time to recharge. Its properties are like the Zeo Crystal, it's ever growing. Last season, it could power up to the Mystic Legend mode. This time, it has grown to bring veteran Rangers to their dimension and power them up. Navi gave a nude prediction: DE, no pink. Too much pink energy is dangerous. In a filler episode, we catch up to the events of Dino Thunder. Ethan and Cassidy Cornell are now married. She works as a reporter making news for Power Rangers. She is currently working to share the word of Pirate Rangers across all the dimensions for veteran Rangers to know about them. Also, she used a bit of Tommy Oliver and Haley's Dino Thunder technology to develop a new Dino Thunder Pink Ranger key, powers from a prehistoric boar dinosaur. This explains why Dino Thunder White is a 6th Ranger, but the powers are not for battle. Dino Thunder Red's power is super speed, Dino Thunder Blue is armored skin, Dino Thunder Yellow is Sonic Blast, Dino Thunder Black is invisibility, Dino Thunder White is camouflage, and Dino Thunder Pink is photographic memory. When the Rangers morph into the Dino Thunder Rangers, Emma have this useless suit in battle that Jake says he's having SPD deja vu. but she suddenly has photographic memory and immediately was able to spot out and analyze the monster's general fighting style. She stood by the sidelines and gave her teammate tips and hints to defeat the monster, and they gave the foreshadow that the Quantum Flyer and Pirate Megazord can merge, but they will require additional power from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Time Force Rangers. The Dino Thunder Pink Key's main power is to have a large bottomless data of storage. Following that, Navi gave a prediction: past is for us to change the future. In the tribute episode of Time Force called Past Unknown, the Rangers received a message from Jen of Time Force. The Pirate Rangers were chosen to stop a ripple amongst dimensions that could threaten reality, as they were closest to the crack in reality. Now the Time Force needs the Pirate Rangers to fix it. This was to protect a ninja temple that was destroyed by the Armada in the Samurai dimension. The Pirate Rangers were chosen to prevent the destruction of the Temple of Power. Apparently in the Samurai universe, the Armada destroyed the Temple of Power a year ago to frame Orion. The Rangers then time travels to the past and stops Metal Alice. They also destroys Octoroo in the process, as they had entered the time where they met the Samurai Rangers in the past. Saving the Temple of Power stops the space-time continuum from collapsing. Jen also gave the Rangers the powers of combining the Quantum Flyer with the Pirate Megazord, placing it into the Dino Thunder Pink Key. Little did the Rangers knew, they actually did a lot more. They actually saved a life. In a tribute episode called A Velvet Homecoming, Vakar hired an intergalactic bounty hunter to take out the Rangers. Navi gave a prediction: look out for the warrior in red and gold. Orion seems to be startled when he first saw the bounty hunter. Apparently, the bounty hunter has faced off with Orion all the way back when he was just a pirate, before meeting Zordon. Even they tried using Alien Ranger and In-Space keys. The bounty hunter was able to easily defeat the Rangers. The bounty hunter told the pirates to run away from him, then proclaimed the Rangers had escaped to the Armada. Metal Alice notes that he let them escape so the Empire would increase the bounties on their heads. Orion and Jake were lost, as Jake has never seen Orion so shaken. The rest of the team were badly wounded and were at rest. After the two ran into Jason, the OG Mighty Morphin Red Ranger, he gave them a pep talk about leadership and bravery. Jason was a strong leader because of courage, which was powered by determination. After witnessing Jason still kicking butt despite not morphing, this gave Orion and Jake the courage to fight as well. Jason was able to take down the X-Borgs, but was not strong enough to face off against the bounty hunter. Before the bounty hunter could harm Jason, Orion and Jake morphed to face off the bounty hunter. When the rest of the team joined them after treating their injuries, the Pirate Rangers morphs into the rest of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And in a cute nod, Orion, as Mighty Morphin Red with the Dragon Shield, grabbed Jake's hand and placed it on his shield. Jake then transforms into Mighty Morphin Green Ranger. The Rangers then defeats the bounty hunter through the use of the Firebird power they received from the Mighty Morphin Pink Rangers. Jason has the ultimate power of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, combining Megazords through the power of team bonding. It will combine the Pirate Megazord and Time Flyer together. However, Vigilante appeared out of nowhere and kidnapped Jason before he bestows the power. In the next episode, the team tries to rescue Jason, but Vigilante uses the auxiliary Ranger keys as a trap to capture the Rangers. After a long battle, the Rangers use the Zeo powers to defeat Vigilante's Ranger key clones. They rescue Jason. Jake retrieved all the extra Ranger keys. Vigilante only had the Titanium Ranger key left, so Jake tried to attack him. But Vigilante was able to easily stop Jake's strike with 2 fingers. Vigilante finally shows his true power by easily breaking Jake's arm with his monster form. Vigilante told Orion that he is that powerful because of what Orion did, locking him in the darkness corner of the Morphin Grid and allowing him to escape into the underworld of the Demon Realm. Vigilante lazily told the rest of the pirates they better retrieve all the powers of the veterans or he will get it all for himself. After Vigilante left, Jason suggests the team to combine their powers, not just the Megazord, but the team weapon. He also placed that Mighty Morphin Power Ranger combination power into the Dino Thunder Pink Key. With the final part of the puzzle collected, the 2 Megazords could finally combine. In the next episode, the Armada launched a 5 giant monster attack on the Rangers, past generals that the Rangers had defeated but never grew in size. Metal Alice was waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and this is it. The Rangers merged the Megazords together and easily defeats the 5 monster to the Armada's shock. The words of Jason inspired Dr. Carver. There was a character development episode for him, where he created a pirate cannon to destroy the ultimate shield of a monster, produced by Malcor. Dr. Carver gained the faith of his fellow teammates to give him their weapon while he worked on the team weapon. He initially was scared he will waste everyone's weapon and get everyone killed. His team trusts him more than he trusts himself. He created the weapon. The cannon, Jake noted, looks a lot like the Zeo cannon. Remembering the blueprints Billy gave Noah in the last season, Jake told Dr. Carver to add the Zeal Ultimate Power to the cannon. Dr. Carver produced the final product. They defeated that Ultimate Shield monster. Nivy gave another prediction: go to school, canyon to grove. In the tribute episode called From Out of Stone Canyon, TJ Johnson and Casey Chan from In Space invites the Pirate Rangers to visit them through sending a message into the Ranger Key. Apparently, the two became school teachers of Angel Grove High. They wanted the Rangers to learn about the importance of dreams, hoping to inspire them to think further than just protecting the Earth, but to see who they are protecting as well. Not just a high by, but understand more. Despite in the beginning, the Rangers were not interested in attending schools. However, over time, the entire team felt inspired by the hopes of the students. Troy realizes his passion in sword fighting is real as he saw the fencing team. Gia and Dr. Carver learn more from the computer science club. Emma seeing bond between older students helping younger students like they are siblings. Orion felt the power of sportsmanship while playing basketball with the basketball team. Jake felt the love after witnessing high school sweethearts. However, Vigilante followed them and decides to hold the school for ransom for their in-space powers. Fortunately, with the help of the students, the Pirate Rangers disarmed the bombs before it blew up. While the Pirate Rangers were too busy disarming the bombs, Jake, TJ, and Casey were fighting Vigilante head-on. The three were no match. Jake tries to stop Vigilante but is unsuccessful. When the other Rangers arrive, they were too late. Vigilante stole the in-space powers, so they use the in-space power keys, but ends in a stalemate. Orion tries to stop Vigilante, but the two were tied. Orion could not believe how evil he could end up. Vigilante blamed Orion for who he is now. Rather than helping Orion of wisdom, he actually condemned and abandoned him in the dark side of the morphing grid. Orion responds he could never be redeemed, and Vigilante asks if he had ever tried. Orion pauses for an apology at this moment of weakness. Vigilante uses it to give Orion a heavy strike, launching him backwards, while using this moment to escape. Even though the Rangers were defeated and the in-space powers were stolen, the two veteran Rangers tries to comfort the Rangers of never giving up the war even if the battle has been lost. Orion regrets locking up Vigilante, which has been apparent through the season. He wished he redeemed his other self, but Casey told him what is done has been done. All he needs to correct his future, set sail in the right path, and also forgive himself. Casey seems to be fond of Orion, recognizing him. Orion says he's surprised that Casey finally recognized him even though he's invisible all the time she knew him. It took TJ a while, then he realized who Orion was, and thanks him for all the times Orion had helped TJ and his friends in the past. In one of the character building episodes called Silver No More, the Rangers faces off a Pudgy Pig lookalike. The monster was a drill sergeant who sneaked out the armada to eat all the food on Earth because he was hungry, since Invidious escaped. Malkor actually gave him permission to travel on Earth. He told the monster to eat all the food it can, starve the Earthlings. The Rangers tries to stop this monster. Jake was not in his best shape due to his guilt for losing the powers from in-space to Vigilante. The monster sucked in and ate Jake's morpher. Without his morpher, he is simply powerless, unable to tap into the morphing grid, sulking because, while he was stuck in the morphing grid, he always wants to return and fight as a ranger in his coma dreams. Jake feels useless without his powers and feels he will be a burden to the team. While cooling off after feeling so powerless, Jake bumps into Tommy Oliver and Adam, who steps into the dimension to visit the Rangers. Tommy and Adam had a talk about losing Ranger powers with Jake, which Tommy states he had lost his powers, but no powers doesn't mean that he isn't a Ranger anymore. Adam added cliff notes on Once a Ranger and Ninja Quest. After hearing how Tommy and Adam lost their powers, but still has the fighting spirit as a Ranger. This motivates Jake to continue on his Ranger duties without his powers. The X-Borgs and Pudgy Pig ripoff arrives to harm civilians, rampaging for food. Tommy, Adam, and Jake fought head-on against the X-Borgs, but were no match against the Lettuce Head. The Lettuce Head mocks Jake for not being able to morph. Jake tells him he won't give up no matter what. Then the other Rangers showed up to the rescue. Jake, spotting Lettuce Head's stomach, tells the Ranger to aim it. The Rangers use Jungle Fury to concentrate on the stomach. The Lettuce Head regurgitates and Jake gets his morpher back. The team morphs into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with a White Ranger to fight the Armada, a nod to the past. Lettucehead swallows the Rangers' weapons, but they summon the Team Blaster from Season 2 of Mighty Morphin and blew up the Lettucehead. Navi then gave another prediction: E-Virus epidemic returns. In the tribute called Alt-Tab, the Rangers receives a distress call from Corinth. Via hologram, Dr. K says the RPM morphers were all hacked by the Vengeance virus. Earlier, after an upgrade of the morphers, Dr. K tried to test it out with Scott, Gemma, and Dylan. When the three tried morphing, the morphers had turned them into Vengeance generals. Gemma turned into Professor Cog, Dylan turned into the Gunslinger robot general, and Scott into Black Beetleborg, suit identical to the General Vengeance from Forever Red. The rest of the RPM Rangers cannot risk morphing, because they might transform into other Vengeance lackeys. Dr. K said Vengeance deactivated all communication channel except for this one, since Vengeance is using the Morphing Grid. As established earlier, the Morphing Grid powers are from the Pirate Rangers universe's Earth. Thus, the Pirate Rangers were summoned. Orion felt uneasy about leaving Earth unprotected, but the rest of the Rangers told them they didn't earn the true nature of the RPM Ranger powers yet. Gia suggests to split the group up, but Dr. Carver said Vengeance is too powerful, even for 5 Power Rangers. Jake also said RPM needs 7 Rangers and 12 Zords to defeat Vengeance, while the Pirates only have 6 Rangers and around 9 Zords. A portal was ripped in the sky, and the Rangers thought it was Dr. K who made it. When they arrived, Dr. K said she was planning for them to arrive through the interdimensional subway train rather than a convenient portal in the sky to enter her dimension. The Pirate Rangers faces off against the 2 robot generals. Gunslinger, who possessed Dylan, held human hostages in a desert. He tries to fend the Rangers off, trying to buy enough time so Vengeance can locate the newly developed Falcon Speeder Zord that was located in a remote R&D area. He plans to travel to the secret Vengeance backup headquarters to resurrect something bigger. Apparently, this version of Vengeance was a downgraded one, thus no Internet Explorer. Needs to transport viruses through snail. So the Rangers fought against the Gunslinger robot. The Gunslinger was tough and bought enough time. However, the Rangers were able to take him out. The Gunslinger told the Rangers they were stupid enough to enter this dimension, because Vengeance always has a backup plan if it fails to take over the world. The Gunslinger's last words were, "Long live the Machine Empire." This rung a bell to Troy, Gia, and Emma, remembering what Billy had told them about the return of the Machine Empire from Zeo. Fortunately, Dylan was freed from the Vengeance control. The Rangers raced to the hangar where the Falcon Speeder Zord was located. Looks like they caught up to the General Vengeance this time. He has the same form as from Forever Red. Jake noticed his experience is similar to a comic book series he read. Vengeance says his creator takes references to create his warriors. So does he. Jake joked, "You probably got stuck in a comic book store computer." Gia said, "More like he got stuck in a haunted mansion." Orion then interrupted the two and heads into battle. The General fought the Rangers head on, and the Rangers morphs into the 2 teams of Red Rangers in Forever Red. So the first set would be Mighty Morphin Red, Zeo, In Space, Time Force, and Lightspeed Rescue, because these fought against Vengeance during Forever Red, and Samurai Red because Samurai fought Vengeance as well. For the second set, it'll be Alien Ranger, Turbo Red, Lost Galaxy Red, Wild Force Red, Time Force Red because they also fought against Vengeance in Forever Red. And JQ's Wolf Warrior because Wolf Warrior is magic, parallel to the mystical Zeo Crystal versus technological and Machine Empire. General Vengeance was even tougher than the Gunslinger. It utilized Scott's fighting moves. The Rangers defeated General Vengeance and it freed Scott. However, the Falcon Speeder Zord automatically activated and races off. Apparently, General Vengeance had uploaded its consciousness into the Zord. Dr. K ordered for an immediate retreat because the place was set to explode and they need to take Scott to safety, who was drained from the possession. The Rangers returns back to the RPM headquarters, trying to figure out what is Vengeance's ultimate goal. While writing up a firewall to contain Vengeance, Dr. K revealed she never wrote the original Vengeance virus code, but she found and modified it, writing in the missing base codes. She was inspired by some alien code while she was researching radio signals, as she was experimenting radio waves and interdimensional stuff while she was at Alphabet Soup. She said the Vengeance virus were lines of broken computer codes that echoed across dimensions. She wrote the missing parts and produced the Vengeance virus. The Pirate Rangers realized the Vengeance virus was actually the remnant sentient mind of General Vengeance of the Zeo Machine Empire. something Billy had warned them about. Venjix's ultimate goal was to restore the Machine Empire. It nearly succeeded during the RPM season. The Rangers head to their skyship to track down the Falcon's speeder sword. In the end, they were able to finally catch up to it. Dr. Carver and Jem were able to install an antivirus. When they want to return back to their universe, the portal in the sky was sealed. It was revealed that Professor Cog was the one who created the portal and had sealed it. Venjix was planning to use Professor Cog as a backup plan if taking over the RPM universe was a failure. Now they decide to take over the Pirate Rangers universe since its protectors are removed. While Professor Cog entered the Pirate Rangers world, the Venjix forces fought against the Armada, fighting over who should take over the planet. Dr. K and Dr. Carver worked together to reverse what Professor Cog did to the portal in the sky by installing a dimensional travel into the Falcon speeder sword. The Armada retreated after the Rangers returned, hoping the Venjix and Rangers would destroy each other. The Rangers morphed into RPM suits and foiled Professor Cog's plans. They rescued Jem after defeating Professor Cog. After the Rangers defeats Professor Cog, Scott, Dylan, Jem, and Dr. K entered the pirates' homeworld and had a briefing with them. They thanked the Rangers for saving them and prevent Venjix from returning, ultimately stopping the resurrection of the Machine Empire. As a token of appreciation, Dr. K decides to let the Rangers borrow the Falcon speeder sword if they need it. Now Dr. K will be trying her best to fix the morphers. She is currently working on something called the Beast Morphers. Orion says he will look up into it. Also, when asked why she used cars as the theme of her team, Dr. K says she has intercepted transmission on an alternate dimension where there is a group of Power Rangers that use the mystical Zeo crystals to defeat the Machine Empire, and the same team later started using cars. Since Dr. K doesn't have any magical crystals, but only vehicles and biofuels, she chose a hybrid of animals and cars to fight evil. Turns out Dr. K is a Power Rangers Turbo and Zeo fan. In a way, this connected RPM with Turbo, making the events of Turbo less hated by some fans who loves RPM. I hope. Interestingly enough, Dr. K hung up pictures of 3 teams. One would be RPM, another one was Turbo, and finally, Turbo Ranger, a Super Sentai exclusive team that never appeared on Power Rangers. After this event, the team realized being Power Rangers isn't just one team, but it is a legacy. What is done as a Ranger echoes in eternity. The team starts to understand being Power Rangers is more and more meaningful throughout the season. As the season is going to a close, the two-parter called All Hail Prince Vakar, Metal Alice constructs an Armada Megazord. Overconfident, Vakar decides to personally pilot it and defeat the Rangers once and for all. To prove his empire, he is worthy to be king. Quite petty if you think into it. Malcor tried to warn him, but he wouldn't listen. He knows Malcor is only following his orders for his lineage, and not loyal to him. Vakar knows Malcor's true allegiance still lies with his cousin, Vrak. Originally, Vakar defeats the Rangers first. The Rangers had to retreat and repair all of their Zords. Vakar celebrates and sends Argus and a few scouts to hunt and destroy the rest of the Rangers. Troy finally confronts Argus for the last time. The two had a duel. Troy still hoping Titanium Knight can be repaired, but the damage is already done. There is no reverse. as he had asked Dr. K, Casey, TJ, and a lot of the veteran Rangers who are tech savvy. All of them says the protocol is irreversible from the files he has accessed in the Warstar files. In a heavy heart, Troy emerged victorious after he destroyed Argus, ending their 2-season-long rivalry and freeing Titanium Knight's soul. Titanium Knight's spirit thanked Troy for stopping it from using it to destroy the planet. As established, Prepox was once Vakar's butler and mentor. Vakar realized his only friend has been destroyed and was in despair. He got in his Megazord and blindly charges into battle. All the Rangers resolve power up Orion's ability to channel his powers into the morphing grid to create the ultimate Pirate Megazord, merging the Pirate Megazord, Quantum Flyer, and Falcon Speeder Zord all together. They destroyed Vakar, leaving the chain of command of the Armada stunned. Over time, there were sprinkled suggestions that Troy is piecing his past together and he started recovering from amnesia. Troy researched about his long-lost girlfriend, Chameleac, in the Warstar database. The database says she joined forces with the robotics division, but there was a lab accident which nearly destroyed her and knocked her into a coma. She was placed inside an exoskeleton, so it will heal her, but her mind is accessed by the suit to be used for the Warstar and weapons development, but her whereabouts has been classified. Following that, in the two-parter called The Master's Arrival, Emperor Vrak has returned, and so has his memories. The Civil War has ended. He emerged victorious, and now he is there to punish those on board for insubordination and treason. Remember in Season 1, how did the Armada get neck and neck with the Rangers and nearly destroying them? Yet in Season 2, with more powered up soldiers, the Rangers still managed to pull through. It's because Vrak was a joke. His command is pathetic. You know those video game tutorials you play before actually going onto the actual campaign? The time under Vrak's command was basically that to the Rangers. A bunch of tutorial missions. So, Vrak is a legitimate heir, Vakar is the Emperor's nephew, he plots to have the throne once the Emperor and Vrak are dead. Vrak was told to return to his homeworld to fight for his birthright, as there was a civil war earlier on. When Vrak lost his memories, Vakar's followers fought him. Vrak lost poorly and some of his lackeys left him. Argus, Metal Alice, and Melkor were captured. Vakar reprogrammed Metal Alice and Argus to follow him. Reluctantly, Melkor joined, since Melkor swore true loyalty, so he will follow whomever has blue blood. When Vakar was defeated, it was also told that Vrak won the Civil War. Once reaching the throne, Vrak goes over a royal metamorphosis. It also restored his memories, and Vrak changed into this black monstrous thing. Melkor was charged for treason as he helped Vakar during Vrak's absence. Melkor promises Vrak he was waiting for Vrak's return. Metal Alice got reprogrammed to follow his lead again. Melkor was sent to jail. In the next episode, the Rangers met a monster, possible rival of Metal Alice. He was the one who created Argus and would like to mass produce him by capturing humans and merging them with the Ranger Zords. Troy avenged Titanium Knight by destroying him. In the next episode, one of the Emperor's most powerful lackeys was sent to destroy the Rangers. Usually, Emma was very well-mannered and reserved, but when she recognized that lackey whom destroyed her homeworld, she went berserk, losing teamwork, which made the Rangers retreat due to the lack of organization. But after admitting to the team about her past, the team decides to help and let her finish off the monster. Showing how strong the team's bond is, they morph into pairs along with Emma, showing the bonds between the Rangers has strengthened throughout these 2 seasons, and how Emma has improved. Later, Vrak decides to send Melkor to destroy the Rangers head-on, as he is running out of scientists. Dr. Carver stumbles upon a database that Noah is a legendary hero and is wanted by the Armada. The other Rangers, except Orion, tries to hide Noah from Dr. Carver, as Zordon has instructed at the beginning of the season. If Orion and Dr. Carver knows about Gosei and Noah, it could actually cause a huge ripple in the space-time continuum. Originally, Dr. Carver has hopes in becoming a legendary hero in his future, but he has mistaken. There were so many mistakes, but he is trying to grow. Orion tells Dr. Carver is legendary in his own ways, and heroes does come in all different shapes and forms. Later, Melkor tracked and forced Viginti to join him in this 2-parter. Melkor easily wipes the floor with his upgraded cybernetic armor, and the Rangers in pirate suits are no match against him when compared to the Megaforce suits. Only Dr. Carver survives the attack, and the rest of the team seemingly incinerated, except for Orion, Vegenti and Malcor ignore Dr. Carver while taking Orion away. Malcor takes Orion and prepares a public execution. However, Dr. Carver arrives to rescue Orion, using the Sieg brothers he had recently created to free Orion, while he himself tries to distract Malcor. We see Dr. Carver using a prototype Green Megaforce suit and Mystic Force powers, but he was no match one-on-one against Malcor. Then the other Ranger shows up. Turns out they were rescued by Vegenti's Titanium Ranger earlier. Before they knew it, Vegenti stabs Malcor in the back, literally, before he can kill the Rangers. Vegenti claims he has no interest in working with the Armada Empire and needs the Rangers alive to collect all the Ranger powers. He leaves a mortally wounded Malcor to fight the Rangers. This gave the Rangers a huge handicap. The Rangers morphs into the past Green Rangers. Malcor was taken down by the Green Team. He was reanimated into a giant monster, but was still destroyed. In his dying words, he cries out his daughter will avenge him. The Armada is now in shock. The most powerful warrior has been eliminated. Emperor Vrak sees the Rangers are a force to be reckoned with and will to gather forces across the universe to take them out. The team thanked Dr. Carver. Emma told him even though he isn't some supposedly warrior of strength, he is still a cunning warrior in his own unconventional way. With all the powers collected from past Ranger seasons except one, the Pirate Rangers realize they have never collected the powers of alien Rangers. Thus, they decide to look for the temple they had protected, the Temple of Power. As it turns out, in the original timeline before Jen told the pirates to travel back in time, the Armada was responsible for the death of Ninjor. From this, they rescue Ninjor, who has been dimensioned in time hopping, learning about the ways of the samurai in the samurai dimension. He was resting in a temple where originally Metal Alice was planning to destroy. It has been sealed by the Armada in a pocket dimension similar to the villains from Ninja Storm. It is a heavily guarded prison now. Brak wants to use Ninjor to learn more about the morphing. After fighting heavy defenses and the Rangers transforms into a few teams, Orion finally got to the jail guard. He defeated the jailer and releases Ninjor. Ninjor was unsure if it was an elaborate Armada trick to give over the ninja powers. He decides to stay with the pirates to observe the team and see if they are worthy of possessing the swift powers of the ninja. During this arc, Jake and Dr. Carver were temporarily possessed by the monster of the day, showing the worst sides of them, along with a lot of humans who were affected by the monster. But in the end, the rest of the Rangers were able to show Ninjor the better sides of them. Ninjor joins them in the fight against the monster of the day. They realized the ultimate power of the Season 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was actually Ninjor. After the battle, Ninjor decides he will go dimension hopping to tell the other Rangers and see what they can do to travel to this dimension to help the Pirate Rangers. Throughout this season, all ultimate powers were retrieved, except Lightspeed Rescue, Lost Galaxy, and in space, Vegenti finally confronted the Rangers head-on. He badly damaged the Titanium Ranger Key and left it for dead. The Rangers felt sorry for it and took it back to their care. Orion explains the Titanium Ranger Key is a sentient organic, new form of life, thus will heal normally. It takes decades to create a life form like this. Turns out the Titanium Ranger Key was actually sent to infiltrate the pirates to steal all the Ranger Keys. The Titanium Ranger took the box filled with Ranger Keys to Vegenti, but the Rangers knew about it and switched the containers. So the Titanium Ranger was holding an empty box. The Ranger tries to convince the Titanium Ranger to join them. It struggles at first but finally joins the Rangers. Vegenti then sets off a bomb that is in the Titanium Ranger Key's belt, blowing it up. Orion jumped in front of his crew to block the blow and was badly damaged. The Titanium Ranger Key was finally back to its original key form, badly damaged. The other Rangers, angered by this, faces Vegenti head-on. They tried to use the powers of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Ninja Storm, and Lost Galaxy, but Vegenti easily wipes out all the Rangers and took over the skyship, and all the Ranger Keys, even the pirate one except for the red key. Vegenti placed the stolen powers to the respective Ranger Keys. The pirates retreated and licked their wounds. Orion revealed that the Titanium Ranger Key pushed Orion away from harm before it exploded. Even though the Ranger Pirate Keys were taken, Orion has been using a Heart Amulet to restore the Mystic Mode, but it ended up creating a series of Megaforce Keys for the Rangers. But he only has 5, since the amulet could only sustain 5 Ranger upgrades. These are still prototypes, but will be able to help them battle for a day at most. So Orion distributed the keys. Troy has the red key, Jake has the black key, Emma has the pink key, Gia has the yellow key, and Dr. Carver has the blue key. Orion refused to take any new key because he knows the others need it more than him. He has been trying to fix the Titanium Ranger Key with the help of the Wild Lion Zord, modifying it with lion powers. Emma asks if it's okay to have two Reds on the same team at once, since Orion will be Pirate Red and Troy will be Megaforce Red. Orion then asks if she has ever noticed there are two Red Rangers on Time Force. The Rangers tries to infiltrate into the ship, but were stopped by their own Pirate Rangers, summoned by Vigilante. After a short and narrow fight, the Rangers barely defeats the Pirate Keys, but Vigilante found out. He summoned an army of all the Pirate Keys the pirates had. The Rangers bitterly fought the army of the Ranger Keys summoned by Vigilante. It's basically Pirate Rangers versus the entire previous 18 seasons of Power Rangers. There were times the Rangers used the Pirate Keys again, and when they lacked powers, they used the Megaforce Key upgrades. So there were scenarios where the boys team up, like Jake using the Megaforce Black Key, and Dr. Carver using Pirate Green, Troy using Pirate Blue, while Dr. Carver used Megaforce Blue. There were also instances Troy used Megaforce Red while Orion used Pirate Red. Orion uses an upgrade which was the Titanium Line Zord he has been working on. The Ranger form of the Titanium Line Zord is actually Titanium Knight, developed from the Titanium Ranger Key. Eventually, they defeated an army of the Rangers. Orion transforms into the Titanium Knight and defeats all the 6 Ranger Key clones. After all the keys were recollected, they faced Vigilante head-on. Vigilante used all the ultimate powers of the Rangers at the same time. He used the Morphin Grid and transforms the Pirate Megazord into an evil version to his liking. Jake saw this moment and summoned his Quantum Flyer. The two dueled, but he was no match. While Jake was fighting Vigilante through Megazord, Vigilante sent all the other Rangers into his mind realm. Vigilante sent all the other Rangers into his mind realm. Orion states if they are able to find the unconscious mind of Vigilante and defeat it, they could get out of there. Gia noticed there is a hole in the sky in this dimension. Orion says the unconscious mind of Vigilante should be there. Emma asked how he knows this. Orion told her this location looks exactly like his mind. The Rangers tries to look for a way to escape Vigilante's mind maze. They fought a bunch of Power Ranger enemy grunt ghosts who merged together and became a monster. But even though the monster was quite impressive at fighting, there was too much infighting between the grunts. The Rangers transforms into Lightspeed Rescue and defeats the monster with V-Lancers. The explosion knocks them into a baseball field with the ghost of Goldar. The Rangers head on against Goldar with the Mighty Morphin Ranger keys, using Tower Formation, but the explosion again took them into another plane where the ghost of Broodwing stood. It attacked them with the army of Tribots. Gia, noticing the hole in the sky is getting smaller, told Orion to defeat the unconscious mind of Vigilante to get them out of there. The Rangers transforms into SPD Rangers, while Orion transforms into Samurai Red and uses the folding sword to fly into the portal of the sky. After traveling through the subconscious mind of Vigilante, Orion found the unconscious mind of Vigilante, which was in the form of a ruby, but it was protected by the conscious mind of Vigilante, a ghoul-looking creature. Orion and the conscious mind of Vigilante uses Final Wave attack, where the explosion knocks the unconscious mind of Vigilante to Orion. Orion grabbed the ruby and it ended the entire mind maze. Navi also revealed she had recollected all the keys and passed it to Jake. Jake used the key powers to summon the Pirate Megazord back, and it split the Pirate Megazord away from its evil version, making 2 Megazords. But in its concentration, it knocks the Quantum Rex out of commission. Orion and the rest of the crew went on the Pirate Megazord and fought against its doppelganger. When the pirates were about to lose, the Rangers sent a bunch of their ultimate powers against the evil Pirate Megazord, and with the finishing move, Navi told them the Turbo Ultimate Power is ready, the Scorching Cyclone Turbo Zord, a flying Zord. They destroyed the evil Pirate Megazord. Even though the evil Megazord was defeated, Vajinti is still alive. Vajinti was seen trying to escape, but the Rangers stopped him. They fought them head on. Why didn't they just crush Vajinti with a Megazord? Because if Vajinti is destroyed, Orion will lose his physical body. The Rangers fought Vajinti head on. He was a worthy opponent. The other Rangers were exhausted, but Orion was still fighting his evil version. The two had a duel and both shot each other plain on the chest, point blank range. Vajinti was dying, but Orion survived because the titanium key he had placed on his breast pocket blocked the bullet. Vajinti died in Orion's arms. Orion apologizes for abandoning him in the morphing grid. It was all his doing. Vajinti chuckled at the irony that Orion has killed himself. Orion took the ruby out and reabsorbed Vajinti into it. Victory was theirs. However, Orion will slowly lose his physical form over time, as the ruby will only save Vajinti for an extended period of time, not permanently. With Vajinti gone, so will Orion, since Vajinti was part of him. As Orion sensed the Titanium Ranger Key slowly losing its power, he merged it with the Titanium Line Ranger Key to save its life. When the Rangers had ultimate powers gathered and they can finally grant them the ability to restore their homeworlds, they found out about the bitter truth that if their homeworlds are rebuilt from all the Morphing Grid's powers, all the veteran Power Rangers will cease to exist. Before they could decide, they were attacked by Metal Alice's Megazord. The Rangers easily takes out Metal Alice's Megazord and she ejected out of her cockpit. Troy demands to know where Chameleact is, since Metal Alice is in charge of the robotics division. Metal Alice told him she was once Malcor's daughter. If you had noticed, Chameleact is actually an anagram for Metal Alice. Troy knew it'd be true, but wished it wasn't. Orion tells the team they can temporarily disable her and see if they could get her back. The Rangers face Metal Alice head on, each morphing into a Ranger that Tommy Oliver had been. They disabled Metal Alice. Before they knew it, Emperor Vrak orders annihilation of the Rangers and the Earth. It was like countdown to destruction, with the Rangers debating to use the ultimate powers of all the Rangers or not. Metal Alice recovered. Dr. Carver deactivated her hostile programming, but there was nothing left of Chameleact within her. The Rangers gave Troy and Metal Alice time for themselves. Troy says he doesn't care what she becomes, he will always love her. Meanwhile, there were guest Rangers seen visiting the Earth, helping out civilians. Orion met Zack from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and he said all Rangers are willing to give up their existence to save any planet. Orion returns to the crew and told them this, but the other Rangers refuses and decides to destroy the Armada head-on. They grew fond of the veterans and refused to use their powers to eliminate their existence in exchange to save the Earth and the galaxy. In the final battle, their morphers were contacted by Gosei thanks to Metal Alice's help. Gosei was trapped on Vrak's command ship. Vrak realized Gosei is powerless when he is away from the Earth. This Earth powers the Morphing Grid, and Gosei is the pathway to tap into the powers. Vrak learned of parallel dimensions and wants to unleash the Armada's fury across all of the dimensions. Metal Alice gave the Rangers passcodes and the command ship's blueprints. She, Orion, and Jake heads to the command ship, while Troy leads the other Rangers to fight the generals that landed on Earth. While Orion is acting as the diversion by immediately changing to a blitz of Red Rangers, Jake locates Gosei. He tries to free Gosei, but Gosei told him to smash his tiki head. This will kill Gosei, but it will also unleash enough powers to bring all veteran Rangers from all the dimension to this planet to aid them, and will give them Ranger powers, and also allowing them to morph. It has been established Orion was not strong enough to power out veteran Rangers. The reason why Gosei never told the Megaforce Rangers to destroy him, because the Megaforce Rangers from Season 1 did not have enough righteousness to do this. If they destroyed Gosei during that time, it will not be able to release all of the powers of good, because the Morphing Grid understands about sacrifice. So now, with the bond that the Rangers has created, it creates a really strong power. Jake hesitated, but finally destroys Gosei's tiki head. Meanwhile, Metal Alice told Orion to plug her into the ship. She will set the ship to self-destruct. Orion asks why is she helping them. Metal Alice tells him she lied earlier. When she was reprogrammed to love by Invidious, she was slowly able to recognize Troy. It took her a lot of time to finally remember everything and fight her programming. But she also realized there's too much innocent blood in her hands to go back. Metal Alice told him she created Moltor with an easy weak spot so the Rangers can take the Heart Amulet back. She also resurrected the Ninja Storm monsters, so the Rangers from Ninja Storm will come and help the Rangers, and will also spread the word of them. The reason why she volunteered to fight the Rangers in the previous battle was her hope to see Troy one last time before being destroyed, but her programming won't stop her from harming the Rangers. She begs Dr. Carver to lie to her before, and now she begs Jake to lie for her. She doesn't want Troy to love the monster she has become, but remain in love with the memory of her past self. She makes him promise to not say anything. Jake promised. Then they plug Metal Alice on the bridge. Orion and Jake regroup there and face down the Emperor. Vrak has become a lot more powerful, and the two barely took him out. The ship explodes, and Orion and Jake survives it using galaxy gliders. Dr. Carver wonders if Vrak is dead, with Jake nodding, but Orion noticed Vrak landing behind him and Jake. To the shock of the other Pirate Rangers, he declares they should accept their destruction and feel honored by dying in his hands. She had told Vrak to shut it. Emma said apologies for not interested in anything the Emperor has to say. Dr. Carver says bullies never win. Troy says they don't care about what Vrak thinks. Orion says the Armada made a mistake for invading Earth. Jake declares that they found a power so great that they don't even feel worthy to use it, and they were fighting alongside it with the 18 Power Ranger team spiritually. Orion says they will be Armada's headache that can bring Vrak's empire down. Vrak fires on them, and the Rangers change into blitzes of different Rangers. The Pirate Rangers change into various other counterparts, beating down Vrak with unrelenting force. Finally, they all change into Battleizer mode. The 6 managed to critically injure Vrak with the final strike, but that didn't stop Vrak. Forcing himself forward, the Emperor fired at the Pirate Rangers, only for Jake to come out of the explosion with a team blaster and slams it into Vrak for a point-blank shot. With the other Pirate Rangers soon backing Jake up, they fire a rough wave, the attack piercing through Vrak's chest with little resistance. The rebound destroys the Pirate Ranger keys, along with all the veteran Ranger keys, turning them into dust. Before Vrak explodes, he yells he will dominate and control all dimensions. And finally, Emperor Vrak was defeated. However, the robot foot soldiers were programmed to destroy the Rangers, so they continued on. Orion tells the team they could still use the Megaforce Ranger keys, but it won't last long since the battle with Vegenti used up a lot of energy. He's not sure the powers were too volatile, but it's their best chance to test them out. The Rangers morph into Megaforce, with Orion become Titanium Knight. The Rangers were outnumbered badly and were exhausted in the fight against Emperor Vrak. Fortunately, Gosei's power and the Heart Amulet had reached all the previous veteran Rangers and transported them there. They received Ninjor's message and came here to help the Rangers out. Even though Gosei is gone, he did not die in vain. The Heart Amulet has reached its highest potential to summon all the 18 teams to fight with the Pirate Rangers. It also gave enough power to give the Rangers stable Megaforce powers. The legendary battle began, and all previous 18 teams fought side by side with the Rangers. When all the minions were destroyed, Emperor Vrak was using that time to gather enough powers to grow it in giant size, an ability he has learned from the Morphing Grid. Vrak says once he destroys the Rangers, all the dimensions of the veteran Rangers will be his. The Rangers use Gosei's remnant powers to summon their Zords from both Season 1 and 2 to fight, but there were no match. Vrak is way too powerful. The veteran Ranger Zords were restored by Gosei's power and Heart Amulet, so they were able to call their Zords here also. Emperor Vrak used the Morphing Grid's power to summon all previously destroyed generals and monsters from previous seasons. The legendary Zord battle had begun. In the end, the Power Rangers were able to defeat Emperor Vrak for the last time. The Rangers and the veterans bid farewell. The Earth has been saved. All the dimensions across the universes has also been saved. Even though the Pirate Rangers were lost during the battle against Vrak, the Megaforce powers has been restored when Gosei's Tiki head was shattered. Once the battle has passed, then after bidding farewell with the veteran Rangers, they returned back to their own dimensions. Troy ran and went through the wreckage of the flagship to look for Metal Alice. He found Metal Alice's exterior completely ruined and destroyed. He removed the exosuit, and in there was his love, Chameleac. She was still alive. Her body was completely recovered from the injuries that caused her to be in the suit. Orion has to say goodbye because another group of Rangers in space needs his help in the past. He has helped them before. Apparently, Orion has another mode he used with Zordon. It was not efficient because the Morphing Grid would have been too strong and make the powers too volatile and unstable to use in this dimension. With Vegenti's Ruby, he will be able to use it, but over time, he will rely on it to survive. This mode is Phantom Ranger. Yes, Orion is the Phantom Ranger from Turbo. This explains the random disappearance of the Phantom Ranger during Turbo. While Orion and Dr. Carver bid their fellow Rangers farewell, Dr. Carver said he knew the day knew Viginti's destruction would come, and he took out a Gosei morpher which he was working on for Orion. He explains they will create a bigger version of this because it's too cramped for Orion. Dr. Carver, who has turned from a coward to a warrior throughout the season, finally opens up to the Ranger. He says, "You can call me Noah. My full name is Noah Carver." So the twist is, Dr. Carver is actually Noah, the same but younger. Before Orion left, Orion tells them since Dr. Carver has opened up a lot, it's time for him to open up as well. They are now a family, and they should call him by his pet name, used only by his loved ones. When asked what his pet name was, Orion responds, "My pet name is Gosei." Orion and Noah got on the Artillatron and traveled back to their own time. While Noah and Orion has transported, the Titanium Lion Zord was accidentally dropped and went back in time a million years ago in this universe, eventually becomes the Titanium Knight in Season 1. While holding the amulet, Emma asks if Jake is still connected to the morphing grid. Jake says yes. She asks if he could feel anyone living inside it. With much effort, Jake tries to reach into the morphing grid, and after forcing himself to the point of ripping his head off, he realized Noah could still be alive in the morphing grid. But he is in another section, the Zord section. The entire team concentrated and pulled out Noah, using up entire powers of the Heart Amulet. After rescuing Noah, they gave him an up-to-date version of what happened. Noah was saddened by the loss of Gosei, but he was happy to see his friends knowing that he was Dr. Carver and understand what he has been through. He is very grateful for what he has become, all thanks to his teammates, transforming from Dr. Carver to Noah. The Megaforce Rangers decide to ensure the Empire will never return, so they decide to head to the Empire's capital and destabilize the Armada themselves. So this is my idea of what Megaforce Empire should have been. What did you think about my video? How would you have fixed it? What else should I fix? Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. See you again next time. Bye.